Hi, I'm Stephanie.
Hi, I'm Alexa.
I'm Mike.
I'm Nitin.
I'm Emmy.
Hi, I am Mark Argenti. The 4 pillars of engineering at Goldman Sachs are quantitative strategist, cybersecurity, system engineering, and software engineering.
I've got developers in my global team writing software, building interfaces for other teams to interact with. I also have systems engineers who focus on building some of our core identity and access management platforms within the firm. Then we work very closely with cybersecurity, working on different threat vectors.
I work in the quantitative strategies departments in Goldman Sachs, and we build algorithmic tradings that automates a lot of trading decisions for our clients.
I am a software engineer. We build the tools that our advisors use to advise our clients.
We work very closely with our product team and also our sales and traders to get feedback from our clients on some of the features they would like to see in our algorithms.
That involves me literally walking over to an engineer's desk, sitting side by side with them and watching them work through a problem. You have this opportunity here to take on more responsibility and increase your influence at a fairly junior position.
I think, that's one of the beauty of being an engineer in Goldman. You get to work on a lot of interesting challenges.
I've been at Goldman Sachs for about 2 years. I was an intern twice before joining for full time. And when I started my first internship, I pretty quickly knew that this was the place I wanted to work.
1 in 4 employees are engineers, and we're over 10,000 engineers at the firm. That makes us bigger than a lot of the technology firms in the industry.
We run a diverse team. I was surprised very positively to see how much further we are than the world that I come from, which is big tech, in terms of our approach and our results on diversity.
We are helping our consumers reach their financial well-being and their financial stability.
I build cool stuff. I'm able to see the products that I help build in the hands of my friends.
What's kept me engaged with the firm is really our drive towards leading edge technology, to keep on pushing the edge of what we should be adopting within the engineering community.
The most attractive things that I found, for example, when joining Goldman, is to be one step closer to the customer from where I was in a tech company.
Within blink of eye, one can trade millions of dollars, and that is all enabled by engineering.
Why do I love problem solving? Well, it's interesting. I think if you are not solving problems, you're probably just executing. Anyone can execute, but not everyone can problem solve.
I'm an engineer.
I'm an engineer.
I'm an engineer.
I am an engineer at Goldman Sachs.
Hi, I'm Stephanie.
Hi, I'm Alexa.
I'm Mike.
I'm Nitin.
I'm Emmy.
Hi, I am Mark Argenti. The 4 pillars of engineering at Goldman Sachs are quantitative strategist, cybersecurity, system engineering, and software engineering.
I've got developers in my global team writing software, building interfaces for other teams to interact with. I also have systems engineers who focus on building some of our core identity and access management platforms within the firm. Then we work very closely with cybersecurity, working on different threat vectors.
I work in the quantitative strategies departments in Goldman Sachs, and we build algorithmic tradings that automates a lot of trading decisions for our clients.
I am a software engineer. We build the tools that our advisors use to advise our clients.
We work very closely with our product team and also our sales and traders to get feedback from our clients on some of the features they would like to see in our algorithms.
That involves me literally walking over to an engineer's desk, sitting side by side with them and watching them work through a problem. You have this opportunity here to take on more responsibility and increase your influence at a fairly junior position.
I think, that's one of the beauty of being an engineer in Goldman. You get to work on a lot of interesting challenges.
I've been at Goldman Sachs for about 2 years. I was an intern twice before joining for full time. And when I started my first internship, I pretty quickly knew that this was the place I wanted to work.
1 in 4 employees are engineers, and we're over 10,000 engineers at the firm. That makes us bigger than a lot of the technology firms in the industry.
We run a diverse team. I was surprised very positively to see how much further we are than the world that I come from, which is big tech, in terms of our approach and our results on diversity.
We are helping our consumers reach their financial well-being and their financial stability.
I build cool stuff. I'm able to see the products that I help build in the hands of my friends.
What's kept me engaged with the firm is really our drive towards leading edge technology, to keep on pushing the edge of what we should be adopting within the engineering community.
The most attractive things that I found, for example, when joining Goldman, is to be one step closer to the customer from where I was in a tech company.
Within blink of eye, one can trade millions of dollars, and that is all enabled by engineering.
Why do I love problem solving? Well, it's interesting. I think if you are not solving problems, you're probably just executing. Anyone can execute, but not everyone can problem solve.
I'm an engineer.
I'm an engineer.
I'm an engineer.
I am an engineer at Goldman Sachs.
Hi, I'm Stephanie.
Hi, I'm Alexa.
I'm Mike.
I'm Nitin.
I'm Emmy.
Hi, I am Marco Argenti. The 4 pillars of engineering at Goldman Sachs are quantitative strategist, cybersecurity, system engineering, and software engineering.
I've got developers in my global team writing software, building interfaces for other teams to interact with. I also have systems engineers who focus on building some of our core identity and access management platforms within the firm. Then we work very closely with cybersecurity, working on different threat vectors.
I work in the quantitative strategies departments in Goldman Sachs, and we build algorithmic tradings that automates a lot of trading decisions for our clients.
I am a software engineer. We build the tools that our advisors use to advise our clients.
We work very closely with our product team and also our sales and traders to get feedback from our clients on some of the features they would like to see in our algorithms.
That involves me literally walking over to an engineer's desk, sitting side by side with them and watching them work through a problem. You have this opportunity here to take on more responsibility and increase your influence at a fairly junior position.
I think, that's one of the beauty of being an engineer in Goldman. You get to work on a lot of interesting challenges.
I've been at Goldman Sachs for about 2 years. I was an intern twice before joining for full time. And when I started my first internship, I pretty quickly knew that this was the place I wanted to work.
1 in 4 employees are engineers, and we're over 10,000 engineers at the firm. That makes us bigger than a lot of the technology firms in the industry.
We run a diverse team. I was surprised very positively to see how much further we are than the world that I come from, which is big tech, in terms of our approach and our results on diversity.
We are helping our consumers reach their financial well-being and their financial stability.
I build cool stuff. I'm able to see the products that I help build in the hands of my friends.
What's kept me engaged with the firm is really our drive towards leading edge technology, to keep on pushing the edge of what we should be adopting within the engineering community.
The most attractive things that I found, for example, when joining Goldman, is to be one step closer to the customer from where I was in a tech company.
Within blink of eye, one can trade millions of dollars, and that is all enabled by engineering.
Why do I love problem solving? Well, it's interesting. I think if you are not solving problems, you're probably just executing. Anyone can execute, but not everyone can problem solve.
I'm an engineer.
I'm an engineer.
I'm an engineer.
I am an engineer at Goldman Sachs.
I'm Stephanie.
Hi, I'm Alexa.
I'm Mike.
I'm Nitin.
I'm Emmy.
Hi, I am Marco Argenti. The 4 pillars of engineering at Goldman Sachs are quantitative strategist, cybersecurity, system engineering, and software engineering.
I've got developers in my global team writing software, building interfaces for other teams to interact with. I also have systems engineers who focus on building some of our core identity and access management platforms within the firm. Then we work very closely with cybersecurity, working on different threat vectors.
I work in the quantitative strategies departments in Goldman Sachs, and we build algorithmic tradings that automates a lot of trading decisions for our clients.
I am a software engineer. We build the tools that our advisors use to advise our clients.
We work very closely with our product team and also our sales and traders to get feedback from our clients on some of the features they would like to see in our algorithms.
That involves me literally walking over to an engineer's desk, sitting side by side with them and watching them work through a problem. You have this opportunity here to take on more responsibility and increase your influence at a fairly junior position.
I think, that's one of the beauty of being an engineer in Goldman. You get to work on a lot of interesting challenges.
I've been at Goldman Sachs for about 2 years. I was an intern twice before joining for full time. And when I started my first internship, I pretty quickly knew that this was the place I wanted to work.
1 in 4 employees are engineers, and we're over 10,000 engineers at the firm. That makes us bigger than a lot of the technology firms in the industry.
We run a diverse team. I was surprised very positively to see how much further we are than the world that I come from, which is big tech, in terms of our approach and our results on diversity.
We are helping our consumers reach their financial well-being and their financial stability.
I build cool stuff. I'm able to see the products that I help build in the hands of my friends.
What's kept me engaged with the firm is really our drive towards leading edge technology, to keep on pushing the edge of what we should be adopting within the engineering community.
The most attractive things that I found, for example, when joining Goldman, is to be one step closer to the customer from where I was in a tech company.
Within blink of eye, one can trade millions of dollars, and that is all enabled by engineering.
Why do I love problem solving? Well, it's interesting. I think if you are not solving problems, you're probably just executing. Anyone can execute, but not everyone can problem solve.
I'm an engineer.
I'm an engineer.
I'm an engineer.
I am an engineer at Goldman Sachs.
Hi, I'm Stephanie.
Hi, I'm Alexa.
I'm Mike.
I'm Nitin.
I'm Emmy.
Hi, I am Marco Argenti. The 4 pillars of engineering at Goldman Sachs are quantitative strategist, cybersecurity, system engineering, and software engineering.
I've got developers in my global team writing software, building interfaces for other teams to interact with. I also have systems engineers who focus on building some of our core identity and access management platforms within the firm. Then we work very closely with cybersecurity, working on different threat vectors.
I work in the quantitative strategies departments in Goldman Sachs, and we build algorithmic tradings that automates a lot of trading decisions for our clients.
I am a software engineer. We build the tools that our advisors use to advise our clients.
We work very closely with our product team and also our sales and traders to get feedback from our clients on some of the features they would like to see in our algorithms.
That involves me literally walking over to an engineer's desk, sitting side by side with them and watching them work through a problem. You have this opportunity here to take on more responsibility and increase your influence at a fairly junior position.
I think, that's one of the beauty of being an engineer in Goldman. You get to work on a lot of interesting challenges.
I've been at Goldman Sachs for about 2 years. I was an intern twice before joining for full time. And when I started my first internship, I pretty quickly knew that this was the place I wanted to work.
1 in 4 employees are engineers, and we're over 10,000 engineers at the firm. That makes us bigger than a lot of the technology firms in the industry.
We run a diverse team. I was surprised very positively to see how much further we are than the world that I come from, which is big tech, in terms of our approach and our results on diversity.
We are helping our consumers reach their financial well-being and their financial stability.
I build cool stuff. I'm able to see the products that I help build in the hands of my friends.
What's kept me engaged with the firm is really our drive towards leading edge technology to keep on pushing the edge of what we should be adopting within the engineering community.
The most attractive things that I found, for example, when joining Goldman, is to be one step closer to the customer from where I was in a tech company.
Within blink of eye, one can trade millions of dollars, and that is all enabled by engineering.
Why do I love problem solving? Well, it's interesting. I think if you are not solving problems, you're probably just executing. Anyone can execute, but not everyone can problem solve.
I'm an engineer.
I'm an engineer.
I'm an engineer.
I am an engineer at Goldman Sachs.
Hi, I'm Stephanie.
Hi, I'm Alexa.
I'm Mike.
I'm Nitin.
I'm Emmy.
Hi, I am Marco Argenti. The 4 pillars of engineering at Goldman Sachs are quantitative strategist, cybersecurity, system engineering, and software engineering.
I've got developers in my global team writing software, building interfaces for other teams to interact with. I also have systems engineers who focus on building some of our core identity and access management platforms within the firm. Then we work very closely with cybersecurity, working on different threat vectors.
I work in the quantitative strategies departments in Goldman Sachs, and we build algorithmic tradings that automates a lot of trading decisions for our clients.
I am a software engineer. We build the tools that our advisors use to advise our clients.
We work very closely with our product team and also our sales and traders to get feedback from our clients on some of the features they would like to see in our algorithms.
That involves me literally walking over to an engineer's desk, sitting side by side with them and watching them work through a problem. You have this opportunity here to take on more responsibility and increase your influence at a fairly junior position.
I think, that's one of the beauty of being an engineer in Goldman. You get to work on a lot of interesting
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, respected dignitaries, esteemed guests, and my beautiful audience. It gives me immense pleasure to be your host today. As we gather here, let's embark on a journey of insightful dialogue, thought-provoking perspectives, and invaluable learning at our very own Women Disruptors Conference 2023. Across the globe, the numbers show steady but slow progress in women's participation in the tech industry. Significant discrepancies came into notice when looking at individual countries. In the UK, the percentage of women in the IT workforce is less than 20%, and this figure has not changed in the last 10 years. When looking at senior positions, the representation of women drops dramatically to just 10%. The European Union countries report similar numbers. The US has slightly better results. According to research data, women represent around 24% of the technical workforce at Microsoft, Google, Apple, and Facebook. India is doing comparatively better. Large technology service providers like Wipro, Tech Mahindra, Infosys, or TCS report around 30% of the women in their workforce. They have shared plans to increase the proportion to 45 to 50% by actively hiring women. The percentage of female engineering students is one of the highest in the world, which is around 30%. But the majority of women tech workers are below 30 years, and a large chunk exits the industry after just 5 years of career. TechGig Geek Goddess started as a coding competition in 2015 for technology companies to meet talented women coders. Gradually, it became India's biggest platform to celebrate diversity in technology and evolved into a complete diversity ecosystem. We are focused on our commitment to make great women coders meet great brands. Geek Goddess is credited with advancing the careers of women in tech and bringing in more than 200 technology and diversity leaders under one roof to create some inspirational magic for our coding divas. I am glad to share that more than 19,000 women professionals and more than 20,000 students have participated this year. Some of the top programming languages our coding divas have explored this year are Java, Python, HTML, C++, CSS. And some of the top companies to create a mark in this edition with their women coders were TCS, Infosys, Cognizant, IBM, HCL, and Capgemini. Now, before I go ahead and talk about what the evening holds for us, I would like to thank our digital partner Goldman Sachs, Platinum partner Cognizant, Diamond partner Genpact for their consistent support. We have some exciting segments for each one of you watching us right now. But before that, it's time for me to call upon Mr. Sanjay Goyal, Business Head TechGig, for the welcome address.
Good evening, everyone. It is a privilege for me to welcome all the contestants, finalists, business associates, and industry leaders to the Geek Goddess 2023 Grand Finale ceremony. Each year, you grace the spectacular occasion of honoring the achievements of India's leading female programmers. With the increased digitization of the world and the way global economies are interconnected and interdependent, it is very important that our education system and the skills that we acquire make us a global citizen. It should be possible for any of us to pick up our bags, travel to a different country, and start working and living there. Software and technology is not limited by language and culture barriers. The solutions that we create to solve a local problem might have potential to unleash a global innovation. Through competitions like Geek Goddess, TechGig brings global recognition to you. And through content that we publish on TechGig and various engagement events that we conduct throughout the year, we bring global exposure to our users. We use AI to generate a skill proficiency profile of TechGig users that is accessible through a QR code. You should log into TechGig to find out your personal QR code. You can share this QR code with family, friends in social media, or paste it in your resume to facilitate access to your achievements. In India these days, some discussion is happening around the 70 hours work week. While quite a few countries have already implemented a 4-day work week, which essentially means they have adopted to a 32-hour work week. The bottom line is that in a country with the fastest growing GDP, its workforce will have to work hard, and each hour contributed should count. And this is where AI plays an important role too. If you have the interest and drive, then become an ethical AI programmer and stay ahead of the curve. And for those of you who didn't want to, AI will assist you like a tool and help you do more and with better results. With these thoughts, I conclude, and I would like to express my gratitude of our corporate partners, esteemed guests, and our amazing women coders who have participated this year. Wishing you a glorious evening.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, in the first segment of this evening, I have with me a software developer who eventually became an internationally acclaimed thought leader, keynote speaker, and a futurist. She's the founder-president of the Foundation for Futuristic Cities, a think tank that has influenced urban transformation in India for 1.5 decades. Please welcome Ms. Karuna Gopal.
So good evening to everyone. My name is Karuna Gopal Vartakavi. I sit on the board of a government company called Engineers India, which is under the Ministry of Petroleum. I also lead a think tank called Foundation for Futuristic Cities, which has been a part of the design of the 100 Smart Cities mission of the government. I also currently head the Women Policy Department, Research and Policy Department of Bharatiya Janata Party, working very specifically on women policies. So that's my introduction, and I'd like to really thank Times Group for giving this opportunity to talk to women professionals, aspirants, and women who are really interested in changing the destiny of our country. So thanks for the opportunity. I've also been given a brief that I should talk about 3 important things. One is the professional development part, maybe with a few insights on how I shaped my professional career. The second thing is how women can start looking at entrepreneurial opportunities. Maybe a little glimpse on that. And the third one, of course, is how you people can contribute to nation building. Well, these are 3 topics. And for someone like me, who really decided a long time back that jargon doesn't work, or maybe circuitous route doesn't work, I'm a very simple speaker. I'm going to give you all the things in a very simple way. To give an example, I'll say that if any one of you has learned French, in French, if someone asks you to say 97, you say things like 97. 97 is 97. How does it work? 4 is 4, 20 is 20. 4 into 20 is 80. D is 10. So 80 plus 10 is 90. Set is 7. So 97 is said in such a laborious way, but it's scientifically right. But there are simpler ways to say it. In English, I'm going to say it's 97. So perhaps my speech is going to be as simple as that. As I said, it's really good to talk about things that matter and not really make it full of jargon. Now, coming to the professional side, I'm sure you would have heard many people tell you, have a vision, have a goal. Then some of you would have also urged you to do something like, big, hairy, audacious goals, etc. And I personally believe, in my experience, people have told me many things, but I really, the most important thing is to really tackle myths and misconceptions. There are stereotypes to break, and everything happens in our heads. So we have to be very, very careful about that. For instance, I have been told that women can either have babies or women can get into boardrooms. Babies or boardrooms. Homemaker or a professional. This is a myth. This is a great misconception. So what I tried to do was I removed the or and I put an end there, like, babies and boardroom, homemaker and professional. The minute I started looking at things like that, everything worked for me. I have a child and I have a fantastic career. Now, the things that many people try to do is they try to also brainwash you. They brainwash you into saying that you cannot do it. Well, in my case, a lot of brainwashing has happened. It happens even today. Now, just to share with you, I've had several health problems. For instance, when I was 14 years old, I had a cardiac arrest. And so Tough education was a no-no. Profession was a no-no because of my fragile health. Then I had 17 years of extreme problems in terms of Crohn's disease, which today doctors think it's a miracle that I surmounted that. And to top it all, I have a child with a developmental disability. He is autistic. He is also epileptic. He needs constant care. So a lot of times people told me, either it is your home or work. Choose one. I said, no, I want both. So I have managed to take care of my home, take care of my child, and also have a profession. Don't let anyone tell you that you cannot do it, because there's something called learned helplessness. I'll give you an example. I'm sure you've heard the story before. You would have heard of the story of the elephant, right? When the elephant is a baby, they take a small rope and tie the elephant. The elephant tries to free itself. The baby elephant, it tries and it cannot free itself. And it tries for a longer time, it cannot free itself. So it gives up that it cannot free itself. And when the elephant becomes a mammoth, like, it really grows big in size, it's still tied to the same rope. And if it tried a little harder, it would actually break and set itself free. It won't try because it fell into the trap of what we call as learned helplessness. Like, someone told you you can't do it, so you became helpless, and it's learned helplessness. She tried, the elephant tried, she failed, and therefore she believes she can't do it. So there's a vicious cycle that sometimes, the world really tries to put you into that vicious cycle. So as professionals, we should know how to actually break free out of that. They will tell you you can't do it, so you won't do it, and therefore you did not do it, you couldn't do it. So there's this very famous story of a boy with a club foot. He had a club foot. It's impossible, my friends, to even walk when you have a club foot. One foot is normal, the other one is club. His mother never told him that he was club-footed. She treated him just like a normal child. And he started walking, he started running, he started competing with everyone. Finally, he won a race. And when people analyzed how he did it, he could do it because he didn't know he couldn't do it. He didn't know that he couldn't do it. So don't let anyone brainwash you. Don't get into the vicious cycles. Friends, you have to be very careful of vicious cycles. Another interesting thing that I noticed about the stereotypes, etc., is that my son is autistic, so I used to teach him how to paint. And one day I thought, maybe I'm not an artist myself, so why don't I employ, get a teacher for him. So the teacher came, and you know what he used to say? He used to say, Vikram, you have to, this is a flower, so either take red or white. Red or white. So I changed the whole pattern for my son in such a way that he knows today he can take either, or he can take both, combine red and white and make it into a divine pink, and his flowers are like majorly beautiful. So we became even twin artists, because people told us that, he cannot paint alone. I said, why not? He can paint with his mother. When they can be books written by twin authors, why can't artists be twin artists? So what you see at the back are paintings done by both of us. He does the background, I do the foreground. So don't let anyone tell you you cannot do it. You can always play around with the rules. You can do wonders. Now, coming to the second important thing as far as profession is concerned, my friends, this is a beautiful thing that I heard recently. So there's this lady who's black, and she achieved a lot in her life. So in one of her interviews, someone asked her, when you started 30 years ago, you were a nobody, like you had nothing. You had 2 children, and you were literally living in a shanty town, in a dilapidated hut. How did you do it? So she said something which is very interesting, and I want you also to listen to this. She said, I struggled a lot, but I had a window of opportunity. I had a window, please pay attention. It says window of opportunity. And she said the window, the size was only this much, that she could pass through the window, grabbed that opportunity, but she had to do it alone. If she carried both her children in her arms, she could never fit through the window. So she gave it a big thought. And she said, I will go through the window alone. And she took the risk. So a lot of people judged her at that time. She left her two children. She left them with her sisters, with her family, with her friends, with her community. But she went through the window, conquered whatever was her destiny. She grabbed it, came right back, took her children, and gave them the best life that she could. So there will always be a window of opportunity. People like us start thinking, should I go? We always have this dilemma, right? So watch out for those window of opportunities. I myself had one great window of opportunity, and that changed my career, that changed everything. Just to give an example, it is not a window of that nature, it's a window of different nature. Exactly 20 years ago, I was in a different profession, and one day I got a call from the World Bank and in Delhi. And they said, ma'am, we wish that you participate in a meeting in Delhi that is to do with the Delhi Water Board reform. So at that point in time, I was teaching IAS officers on utility reform, transition management, deployment of technologies, etc. So I said, participate. When is that? He said, day after tomorrow. And we'll arrange for your tickets and stay, etc. So I agreed. And I said, who will be there? He said, the World Bank senior people, UN senior people, the IAS officers who are running the water utility, then Adam Smith Institute and the USAID and all the top multilateral organizations will be present. I agreed to go. Somewhere in the evening, I get a call and he says, Ms. Gopal, we are wondering whether you can give a presentation that in the meeting, and it is about how you navigate the utility reform. So I thought, a presentation, and all these people are there. I was young at that time, 20 years back, and I was just entering into this area of urban sector. I came from a technology background. I had a strategy consulting firm, a tech firm, and then I moved into this area. I was new, but it made me think he's asking me for a presentation, which means that they think I'm an expert, and why not? I said yes. So I started working on the presentation. And I worked furiously at the presentation, trying to understand what is a utility, what is how exactly a reform is done in different parts of the world, in Cambodia, here, there, everywhere. And then what is demand side management, what is supply side management, what is transmission distribution losses, what is tariff setting, everything. In a matter of 8-9 hours, I made a fantastic presentation. The next day at 6 o'clock was my flight. He calls me at 9 and he says, ma'am, can you steer the meeting? Can you steer the meeting? Which means, who's sitting there as the boss? It's Karuna Gopal, who's barely 36. And she's navigating a meeting with all experts from the World Bank, etc. And she's actually steering a meeting. So when he said that, anyone who had little doubt about the professional competence would have backed out. But I knew that was my window of opportunity to launch myself into the urban sector with absolute applause. If I did a good job, I would be ensconced in that sector. I would be settled in that sector. And I did that. And after that, there's no looking back. I became an expert with the World Bank. I became an urban expert with the Asian Development Bank, with DFID of UK, with USAID of US, all multilateral organizations. So that window of opportunity, I'm sure all of you also will get. Now, don't even give it up. Start thinking. Think of the 2 windows of opportunity that I talked about, and keep thinking about it. And then another important thing, the last one about professional success is several times people tell you, do a SWOT analysis, do a SWOT analysis. They repeatedly tell you, and then you do a SWOT. I'm talking about those days. So basically, I was an outlier. I never did any of those, but people continue to do even today. And then they tell you, after the SWOT, they tell you, work on your weaknesses. You're weak here, work on your weaknesses. Now, I certainly have not done it. I personally feel that weakness, you leave the weakness. God has given you a strength. Now, maximize the strength. you become so powerful in that strength that you can really become an absolute expert there, undisputable leader in that particular area because you honed that skill of yours. Do that. So that's about the professional thing. The second one that I was asked to talk about is about entrepreneurship. Friends, I'm telling you, as women, there are opportunities everywhere. Women who can become an entrepreneur, someone who can look at problems. Look at the history of women. Women have actually started looking at problems. Look at the World War. During that time, you are looking at coding in the technology and information technology space. They're looking at coding from the war perspective, ciphers, how to decode. That was done by women. Women cracked the genetic code. Women worked on several things in the climate science today. If you look at the vaccines, I think most of the women cracked the mRNA code for vaccines. So that's the power of women. And why is that? That's because they understand the problem. So that's what makes you an entrepreneur also. Look at the problems around you. Look at the problems around you and start looking at solutions. The minute you start looking at solutions, anything can happen. You can become an entrepreneur, you can become a scientist, you can become a whole bunch of many things. So huge opportunities in non-invasive technologies in terms of, let's say, deploying artificial intelligence, machine learning, all kinds of things can be done, but only if you're tuned to the fact that there is a problem and I'm a problem solver. So entrepreneurship happens only like that. So this is something that you can start looking at all the problems, think of your passion, combine it with that. And the last one, my friends, is about how you can add value to the country in nation building. So look at our country. I mean, such a beautiful, brilliant Mahabharat we have. Now, this particular country, if you really see, we have the largest number of STEM women graduates in the world. Largest number of STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics graduates are women, and the largest number are found in India. We have beat America, we beat UK, we beat France, and we beat Germany. We are the largest number. So we belong to such a brilliant country, and there's so much to do in this country. So nation building happens with your minute efforts. Start contributing as much as possible. And don't even think what your role could be, because you may not know. And I also remember when people say that women can do a tightrope walk, I always tell them one thing. Tightrope walk? Just a tightrope walk? No. Women do a tightrope walk, spinning wheels, juggling balls. They can walk the tightrope. That is the power of women, and all God-given. Call it the genetic code. So I wish you all the very best, all you techies out there who are dealing with the tech codes. Understand your genetic code to make fantastic progress in your lives. And my best wishes to you, and Godspeed. Thank you very much.
We're grateful and honored to have you here with us this evening, Ms. Gopal. Our next guest is an entrepreneur who is also an engineer. To tell you more, during 2008, although she had her comfortable life with a corporate job, she realized that she no longer wanted to be a corporate drone. According to her, work was becoming too easy, even though she worked on some high-impact projects. But she wanted to come back to India and contribute to the Indian startup ecosystem. Well, this was the turning point of her career. She was back in India by 2009. In the subcontinent, she met a lot of people and extracted ideas about the buzzing sectors and unresolved gaps in the business and startup ecosystem. While she was figuring out her interest in business ideas, during that time, we barely had applications for cashless services. Now that gave the idea to resolve this gap and work for the advancement of technology in the country. Folks, please join me in welcoming an inspirational figure for many aspiring entrepreneurs and techies, the co-founder of MobiKwik, Upasana Taku.
So hello there, my name is Upasana Taku. Thanks Sukriti and team for having me here, and a big hello to all the women in STEM, the tech divas that are participating. I have been a woman in technology now for my entire career of almost 20 years. And let me speak about how I think about my career and how I've developed it. So I grew up in Surat in Gujarat, and I belong to a Kashmiri Pandit family. So the emphasis is highly strong on academia and pursuit of excellence in education, and science, engineering, Doctor Banjao, Engineer Banjao. Those would be the key thought processes in my mind when I was a high schooler. And I once had an idea that I wanted to become a journalist because I like writing and storytelling. And I remember promptly my parents said, Ki, nahi, I think that you will be a fine doctor and an engineer. So, तब मैं सुन लेती थी उनकी बातें. So I pursued my BTech in industrial engineering from Jalandhar in Punjab. And then I was not really satiated. I thought that I was a smarter high schooler than I was, a BTech graduate. And also the year was 2001. So, all the campus placements were getting delayed because of 9/11. And I had time on my hands. So I decided that, I should pursue further education. In fact, I had thought about it previously only, and I had already given my GRE and TOEFL when I was in college. So then I applied quickly. And in 2002, I moved to the US to pursue my MS in Management Science and Engineering. And I'll spend a second talking about that story because it is something that meant something to me. So I really wanted to study at one of the best, engineering schools. And to me, that name was actually Berkeley, University of California. Berkeley is where I wanted to go for a master's and maybe a PhD as well. And interestingly enough, Berkeley is the one place where I did not get an admission. But I got an admit to Purdue, UPenn, Wisconsin, Madison, and I also got a surprise admit to Stanford, which I had not expected I will get. Because at the time, mostly they used to give admits to people who came from IIT Delhi or IIT Bombay, and not so much to other engineering schools in India. But I had great scores in my GRE and TOEFL. So maybe I wrote a persuasive application. So I got it. So it was very interesting because now there was an option to be thought about, which was a difficult option because in places like Purdue and Wisconsin, I had a full scholarship or a full research assistantship that was offered along with the admit. But Stanford being a private university, unless you're on the PhD track, you don't get any RA or TA, research or teaching assistantship. So my father was like, ye to nahi ho sakta, because 1/4 of education costed $10,000. At that time, the dollar rate was less, so it was like 6 lakhs. So, and that was my parents' entire cash savings, so to speak. So like, ye to nahi ho sakta. So I like, okay. So I made a plan. I hashed a plan with my sister saying that, okay, I'll fly early before the university starts, and I will try to hustle a scholarship for myself. And if I get one, then I will pursue my education at Stanford, or I will fly to Purdue or UPenn, and वहाँ पे तो full scholarship है. So it's just a domestic additional flight that I'll have to buy. So I did that, and without belaboring the story, I spent a month going from pillar to post, to all the research labs at Stanford in a door-to-door lab marketing situation to all the professors, from School of Engineering to School of Music to medicine. कुछ नहीं छोड़ा मैंने, until I found a full scholarship, which was only after 1 month. And basically that is what I call my seed investment into myself, which I was able to hustle just by perseverance and hard work, because it was a new country, new city. I didn't know absolutely anyone, so I had to really bank on myself to get that, and that really built my self-confidence also, that if you have a will, then a way will happen. So moving on, Stanford, of course, has a fairly entrepreneurial learning environment. Most of the education itself is application oriented, where you have to do a lot of projects with real life companies. So for example, for one subject, you get to do a project at a large company like a Sun or a Cisco, or for some other project, you would have to work with the startup, and all the divisions, all the departments there are very well integrated with the industry. So the education is far more industry oriented than academic in nature, which I really liked. So then once I was graduating from Stanford, ideally I should have gone to one of the startups, and I did have a few startup offers, but I took the conservative approach and I joined HSBC in San Diego, first to get my visa and green card and everything in order. Subsequently, I joined PayPal in the Silicon Valley as a product manager. And I actually got to launch PayPal in several European countries as a product manager. I was also involved in the first India cross-border business of PayPal. And I also got to work on an interesting acquisition that PayPal made in Israel, in Tel Aviv. And that is again a very smart bunch of entrepreneurial people working with that startup. So over a period of the 3 years that I spent at PayPal, I got amazing exposure, and I realized that I had become very good at my job. So I was getting more and more meaty and complex projects. But I'm sure my manager, the VP of product, thought that this is going to be hard for her, iske liye challenging hone wala hai. But to me, it seemed like just the dollar value was increasing. From starting from a $2 million to a $20 million, I ended up finally doing a $200 million project. But it became very easy for me. So then I started thinking, what can I do that is bigger? And it's not just about having a big title and having all the disposable income in the world. But by this time I was only 27, 28. So I was thinking, what am I going to do with my life? I should do something more challenging and meaningful. And while many new fintechs were coming up in Silicon Valley, as they do, they keep innovating and bringing more convenience to the market. I found that instead of working on incremental convenience or incremental user experience, emerging markets like India or China or Latin America, यहाँ पे तो digital है ही नहीं, कुछ infra ही नहीं है fintech का. So that's a larger opportunity, and I should dip my toes into that, and I should try to make a larger mark if I can. So this is what sparked my next big decision in my life. I gave up my cushy career, green card, and house and cars and everything, and I moved back to India with the explicit intention of starting a financial impact company. And so I moved back at the end of 2008, and then early 2009 I started working for non-profits that were working in different parts of rural India, and I was trying to get a flavor of what kind of products can really bring financial inclusion to Bharat. So I didn't really want to work on products and services that all the banks and NBFCs and AMCs were already doing. I wanted to do something that could create value for women, for marginalized communities, for underserved people. So there is value in creating something that is more fundamental in nature. It doesn't exist. And from that experience at those nonprofits, I understood that physical distribution is not going to scale much because India is such a large market. So digital is the way to go. And the second thing I realized is that financial inclusion is going to start by digitization, because until money is digitized, how can I, really bring many products and services to a user somewhere in the hinterlands. So that's how, my mind got fixated on digital payments as the gateway to financial services in India. And I happened to connect with my co-founder Bipin, and together we started MobiKwik as a full stack fintech platform where we thought we'd first acquire users and small merchants via payments, and then ultimately we will distribute all the financial products to them, whether they are credit products, whether they are investment products or insurance products. And I'm happy to tell you that the original vision that we started out with 14 years ago today continues to be the same. And today we have delivered on our vision of payments, on our vision of digital credit, and creating impact by bringing investment products as well as credit products to the underserved or underbanked middle India, which is mostly not served very well by the large financial institutions. So that's sort of my story, and where we have reached. I'm equally excited about where we are today as I am about the next 15 years, because I think of India fintech as a very, very large, sort of an infinite TAM opportunity is what I call it. So there is scope for many more startups to get created, and many large companies to get created, building on digital, so to speak. What I can say from my own experience, some interesting things about how to make the right decisions for your career, for your professional growth, and how I would like to inspire more women in STEM, women in tech, to think about is that, see, it doesn't matter actually whether you are a man or a woman. If you are a person who has ambition, who has skill, and is willing to work hard, then you can become anything or anyone you want. You want to be on the moon, you can be on the moon. You want to send something to the moon, you can send something to the moon. Or you want to be the engineer who worked on the parts that were used to send somebody to the moon, you can do that. Or you want to be the coder who wrote the software for the space vehicle. All of those are options. I don't think that there is any limit to what women can achieve. I do think that there are many factors due to which, वो कहते हैं ना फुटबॉल में self goal, many times women do self goals, other times society does that for them. So my personal view is that we should not be focus so much on social conditioning. It doesn't matter how many women are doing what you want to do. It doesn't matter to the Indian women's cricket team how many women are playing cricket in India. Do they wish that more women in India were playing cricket? Yes, it does. It would be nicer. Would they like more fans? Would they like more viewers to watch their match? Absolutely. But that doesn't stop them on working towards their passion of becoming excellent at what they do and taking their country India to the best heights of success as possible. So to this extent, I want to say that I have often found women to self-doubt, shortchange themselves. Let's say if I were to take out a rec or a job for a VP or director of engineering or a similar role in product, I would say that if there are men candidates who are meeting 50 to 60% or even 70% of the job requirements written in the JD, they will apply and they will try their level best to pitch that they have all the 100% things, or they have 80% of the things and the balance they will learn. That's how they will pitch themselves. Women, on the other hand, whether they are open market candidates or internal candidates within the company, they will want to check all the boxes. Ki agar maine sab kuch kiya ho, then only I think that I will be able to pitch for this role. And that is not the case. So I think that that's where women are not trying to sort of push the boundaries and trying to achieve more, get more, and take on more, especially in a startup environment. I can say that. So it doesn't matter how much the market, potential customers, potential employees, potential investors, everyone can underestimate you, but it is only up to you to prove them wrong. So my onus has always been to take decisions based on my conviction and not be so focused on what others, whether they are my friends or family, think, or what external stakeholders may think. If I thought so much about why aren't other women starting fintech companies, then I wouldn't have started one, right? And when I was starting MobiKwik, there weren't too many women starting tech or internet companies in India. The approach or strategy that I have is that be real, be humane, do the best work that you can, try to create a lasting impact on the careers of the people who join you. As a founder, not only are you trying to build a product which is trying to serve the real needs of a customer, but in the process you're also uh, building the careers of many people who believe in you and who join you and work hard for you. And it has been my focus area to try to develop people within the company as well, to scale in their careers. So my decision making process has been not impulsive, but similarly not so much focused on what other competitors are doing or what other people are doing, and more so based on internal confidence and personal conviction. I often say that doing a startup is like climbing up a hill, and all across the hill you have naysayers. At every step on this hike to the top of the peak, there are people standing and waiting and saying ki you won't be able to climb, you won't be able to peak, nahi ho payega, you will get tired, you're too weak, you have other responsibilities, you have a young child, you have a family, this and that. But my answer to that is ignore. Ignore your detractors and keep going, because they can only try to dissuade you. They can't actually hold your legs, they can't actually stop you from moving forward. So, just to tell you guys a amazing anecdote, that I like to often think about. It's from this popular movie, Rocky Balboa, where it says that it's not about life has a way of sort of bringing you down, and there will be many times that you will be on your knees, so to speak, and you will not be able to you'll find that you're often being brought down to your knees. That's how life is. It's hard, it brings you to your knees, and it's not about how much how many hits you can take. It is about how many times you can fall and you can get up and keep moving forward, because life will keep pulling you down. And that's the story for every startup founder, by the way, that there will be too many downs, there will be too many lows, and you will be an unsung hero, nobody will care. But it's when you're successful, then everybody wants to know everything about you. So uh, moving towards my personal aspiration in being a entrepreneurial person is that I'm not doing this for money. If I wanted to be rich, I would have been far richer than where I am today, 10 years ago. I shouldn't have left my Silicon Valley work. I would have gotten much more richer there, much faster. I'm not doing it for fame. You can, check my social media. I don't post regularly. I'm not one of those who is writing for the sake of writing. Uh, I think that for me, it's about building something first generation. Before MobiKwik wallet, there weren't many digital wallets. We have very nice competitors in our market, but they all came after us. So my legacy is going to be creating something that is innovative, that has value to offer to millions of Indians, and that today is a profitable fintech company, which is unheard of. There aren't too many profitable fintechs, by the way, in India. And my aspiration for MobiKwik is that it should continue building and scaling and creating impact for not 20, 50, 100, but maybe 500 million Indians. Not today, but it will take much longer. Kotak was not built in a day. HDFC and ICICI were not built in a day. It takes decades to create, a lasting financial institution. And when people think about a digital banking platform or a digital banking app where you can get all your financial needs met completely digitally without any branch, only on your phone, on your app. That is what I want MobiKwik, to become. So I think that if you make your key decisions for your company, if you want to start one, or even for your life as you start your profession, think long term. Don't think short term. It's not about कि एक साल यहाँ जॉब कर लेते हैं फिर उस पर हाइक लेके सेकेंड ईयर वहां कर लेते हैं. It's about learning something, giving back to the company, creating value. Then you have the credibility of the organization where you work for. Now you've earned the credibility after 1 year. Then you take on bigger and bigger and more important projects, and you do extremely well on them. Try to increase your canvas, bigger and bigger, faster in your life, so that you learn more. And I think that, of course, you need money. Of course, if you're going to work for startups or do your own, you need ESOPs. But also prioritize for the quality of role and the quality of work you will get to do, as well as the quality of people that you will get to work with and hang out. Now, to talk about, where I think that we need to do more to encourage more women in technology. This is a real area of this is a real area that interests me, and I often, very recently, I was at a Google event where I was discussing, why we don't have more women in tech, either at leadership level or at mid-level or even as founders. First things first, not enough women are going into STEM. So science, engineering, applied math, physics. We need the participation of women to be more like 50-50 in the classrooms, in the colleges, in the universities. Once that happens, where the participation levels are high, and then when they graduate, we need all graduates of colleges, universities, women at all levels, or even high schools for that matter, or diplomas. We need all the women to work, join the workforce, achieve financial independence. And then as women go through the different life stages, we see immense drop off. I don't really understand what happens. Just because I think there's a lot of societal pressure. I think there is a lot of social conditioning, because just because women are getting married doesn't mean that they have to stop working. It's not as if their brains stop functioning, right? Like, men are also getting married to these same women. Men are not stopping work. So why should women be stopping work? I mean, I see that as a big opportunity, by the way, for India as a country. Like, we have one of the lowest participation of women in general in the workforce in India. And especially in tech, it is even weaker. So if we see more women in tech work, it will create a direct impact, on our GDP. And the GDP growth will happen, faster. So from higher participation in schools and colleges to joining the workforce and then continuing to stay in the workforce. I'm not trying to ignore that there is a lot to be done, as you become, as you move from your 20s to 30s. You have to take care of the young and the old in your families. A lot of the burden is falling on women. I am completely aware of all of that. And I have personally experienced a lot of these things myself in my life. But I think you have to find a way to balance. You have to find people who can help you, parents, family members. You have to also find ways to bring flexibility. So there is no reason why, if you have too many things to manage, why you can't reduce your work hours. But you shouldn't make it zero. You shouldn't give up working. And I think that education, participation in workforce, and continued employment, like financial independence for women, should be a diktat that every family should be teaching their girls. It doesn't matter whether you're poor. It doesn't matter whether you are rich. You need something to do. Even if you're rich, even if your father can provide for you or your husband can provide for you, why shouldn't you on your own? What will you do with your brain? Like sitting at home, you will just be consuming content or doing menial things, none of which will challenge or stimulate your brain. So you need to do something. You could also start your own business. All of those are good ideas, but we must encourage more women to work, whether doing their own businesses or as part of the formal workforce. So I think that we need more platforms like this platform that encourages women in tech. And we think that we need I think that we need a lot of eyes to open and a lot of conditioning in the society to change. And I also need all the girls and the women to appreciate this aspect. I'm thankful that doing startups has now been well understood by regular Indian households, thanks to popular TV entertainment channels and platforms. But I think that this particular aspect, that women are still being inhibited, or there are detractors pushing them back at all stages, whether at home, whether in the workforce, whether in the hiring process. I think that there is a lot more we can do to improve the circumstances. Today it is far harder, and I wish all the participants of the this tech gig platform to have that. I want them to have better circumstances in their careers in the upcoming decade. So that's my bit. That's my story. Thank you everyone for listening so patiently and kindly. I wish you all very well. And I also would like to congratulate all the participants. And I'm looking forward to see who are going to be the coding divas that are going to get selected as the winners of this competition.
Thank you, Ms. Taku. You're truly a living inspiration for all the young entrepreneurs. Now, as the rise of digital services and automated processes starts to remake the very world we live in effective, coding may become the primary avenue to true financial independence in the new century for both men and women. That being said, encouraging more women to take up career avenues in the tech has always been our priority for us at TechGig Geek Goddess. I have an amazing panel joining me to discuss the scopes of programming and ways we can get more women into the tech space. Let's have a look. Hello folks, I'm here with an amazing panel at the virtual grand finale of TechGig Geek Goddess 2023. Talking of the topic today that we're here for, encouraging more women to become leaders in STEM related fields. And even though progress has been a little spotty over the past 2 decades or so, but we still can say that there is a progress. Now, according to a research on computing camps of Florida University, it shows that girls aged between 10 to 12 can learn to see themselves as coders in as little as a week, provided they're exposed to the many diverse roles within the field of coding and are encouraged and supported by those who they view as experts. To really make this stick, however, educators at all levels must overcome their own biases about women and technology to instill enthusiasm and a sense of belonging throughout the girls' education experience and, of course, into the workforce. That being said, and much more in this conversation that I'm about to have with the eminent panel. Before that, let's have a quick round of introduction with our panel members who've joined us at this huge coding carnival here. Folks, I am delighted to have Philip Varughese, Global Head, Applied Intelligence, Platforms Engineering and Architecture from DXC Technology, Dileep Mangsuli, Head of Development Center, Siemens Healthineers, Jyoti Plarapara, Head of Engineering, Airport and Airline Operations, Amadeus Labs, Bengaluru, and Sahitya Hegde, Advanced Analytics Delivery Leader from Genpact. Now, before I move forward, I would request our speakers and our leaders to introduce themselves and tell us that if not a tech leader today, what role or profession they have been, into. Dileep, let's start with you.
Yes, thank you, Sakriti. Great to be here at this platform. I lead platforms and engineering at DXC. technology for the security business unit. And I wanted to be in law enforcement if I'm not doing my current job to make the world a slightly safer and better place to live. But today I'm running that similar role in the digital aspect of the safety and security. Thank you.
Thank you, Philippe. Dileep?
Yeah, I lead Siemens Healthcare Development Centers. I'm very passionate about making an impact through innovations in healthcare. If not this, I would love to be a professor.
Wonderful. Jyoti?
Hello. So as a child, I wanted to become a car mechanic. That was the only engineer that I had access to during my childhood, I would say, and that was something that I wanted to become.
Wonderful. Sahitya? You're on
I would have
mute.
probably been doing what you are doing currently, which is being on the media side. Because I did it 20 years ago. Taking interviews, covering music events was fun. But then I guess the passion of data and analytics led me to where I am today.
Wonderful. Now that's interesting. I have had some interesting things coming from each one of you, and I'm sure we become something for a reason. And here, as we are today, your learnings and your experience will be an add-on to the people, to the techies, and to, of course, our women coders who will be watching us today. And will drive a lot of inspiration from each one of you as we are here to talk about them and how we can actually bring them and have more of them in the industry. Now, that being said, I would quickly now jump to the questions, the main conversation that I have actually come prepared with for all of you. Jyoti, I would like to begin with you. Tell us that how the absence of women programmers not only represents a serious blow to gender equality, but also has a substantial missed economic opportunity for the tech industry.
Sure. So this question on where are the women coders, where are the vibrant geek goddesses, hit us very hard about 2 months back, actually. So we go to campuses like any other company for our pre-placement activities. And there was actually a conversation on diversity and inclusion, and some of us were coming out of this, and we saw some pictures coming from these campuses of the group of people who were attending the pre-placement talks. And it was difficult to spot girls in that picture. There are around 200 people in that audience, and you really had to scroll to find even 10, 15 girls in that group. And this actually took us back a little bit as to, is there something wrong with our brand that girls are not coming to attend pre-placement talks? And we did an introspection on this and found that there's nothing wrong with our brand. In fact, it is actually quite good from diversity inclusion standpoint within our organization, as well as how the brand is portrayed. And we went back to look at statistics around it on the internet. We talked to the placement officers as well and found that there is clear disproportionate number of girls who are getting placed versus the boys who are getting placed. Now, what is the barrier, right? Why don't they even turn up for a pre-placement talk and then end up clearing? I don't have a concrete answer to this, but what we are trying to do as an organization is there are programs like Girls in Aviation that we run. This runs from our Singapore office, and we are going to bring it to our Bangalore center or the India centers as well, where we bring in the children, 8 to 15 years, like I was talking about, to our campuses, to our offices, get them to see what we do as an organization, how it makes an impact to a traveler, and get them excited about technology, as well as that, the passion for aviation as a sector or travel as a sector. That's one aspect that we look at. And then there are college outreach programs as well, where we would like to bring in more confidence in the people so that they come for these pre-placement talks, see some of these opportunities through mentorship as well as skill building. So that's a couple of aspects that we look at. And the aspect on returnship is another thing that is a key focus. Again, if you look at numbers, the great resignation year that we had last year, the number of women who exited exited the workforce is again disproportionate compared to the men who exited. How do we bring these people back? We have returnship programs where we provide coaching, mentoring for women, which actually is a range of 1 year to all the way up to 8 years, where this is provided for our for people who want to come back to the workforce. So these are some more things. Now, lost opportunity. There are umpteen studies that have shown that companies who have invested in diversity and inclusion have good financial results, are on cutting edge of innovation, good corporate governance. There is enough studies, and that's why I think as corporates, everyone is focusing on this area to have a healthy business, healthy healthy financial performance for their organization.
Right. So, as organizations, of course, there is a miss that we are trying to look at. But if you try to, consolidate the view of having more women in the tech industry, I think it somewhere or the other does affect the economy, right? That how much participation, right, from GDP to everything that we actually, sort of try to collate the data when it comes to as our individual existence. I think somewhere or the other it does affect that, in terms of opportunity that you're trying to create. Now, of course, programs and, giving them special benefits of joining back work or things that we kind of do for them in terms of giving them more employee benefits or probably leveraging them as coming back to after taking a break, all sorts of things that organizations actually put their force into. Now I think wherein those things are helping, but I still like you mentioned in the campus, you barely find 10 to 12 girls or women being a part of that discussion. So I think that gap, that psychological gap that exists, that how and when can we do this, is something that we need to still address. Now coming on to this, that how can we do this, Dileep, I would like to move to you, and I would like to understand from you precisely that how much is too much, or I should say enough, to mentor women in tech, because we often talk about programs, we often talk about that mentorship that we give to women, or we would like to, or there are organizations, there are leaders who are trying to do this, but how much is it, like always too much, or I should say just enough?
It's a great question that you ask. Every organization trying to look at how do we bring more women into leadership. I think we all do a great job when we hire people at entry level. Entry level, we try to really even exceed the number of people available in educational institutions and bring them to a much better level. But the challenge always comes in terms of the growth. When I look at my direct reports, do I have the same proportion as my entire organization level? Probably not. And this is where I think, we try to run so many mentorship programs, so many special trainings and all that. And there's always a question that comes, are we doing too much? Are we doing, are we ignoring certain facts in terms of allowing women to grow to a level of competence they need to? Are we missing somewhere? If I think about it a little bit deeply, mentoring is not about, trying to bridge too many weaknesses, but identifying people who have the potential and nudging them to really grow with nudges given where there are some challenges. Many times we tend to really look at, because it is a mentoring program, we want to somehow fill the gap. We try to really handhold or kind of guide them through and through, which actually does not develop women to be a great leader. I think to make them a great leader, I think we need to allow them to make mistakes, not making their decisions, but allowing them to make decisions by giving them examples or giving them opportunities to try things which would be possible, not giving them a direct answer, but giving them opportunities to choose between answers. I had a case of one of the leader who came in and she said she wants to attend one of the global program on innovation. And she reached out to the person who was leading that. And she was kind of pushed back by that person who was coordinating, saying that, hey, no, this is only for people in certain countries and not for you. And she was kind of disappointed. She was a strong leader. And she came and asked me, like, what should I do? This is how I got the answer. I said, look, have you spoken to the global head? I can do that, but you should speak to the global and say that, yeah, I'm interested. And why can't I be a part of it? She said, if I speak to him, will there be a negative impact because this person also reports to him? I said, look, don't think about it. Think about what is needed. You're not thinking just about yourself, but also about the organization. Then I just allowed her to go make a decision, and she spoke to the global leader, and global leader said, hey, you should be part of it. And she got an invite, and she's going to be part of that discussion. And she wrote to me saying that, hey, thanks, just because I got that direction, what I should do, I did that. Otherwise, I would have just kept quiet, saying that not to be done anything. So to me, I could have probably done job of talking to the global leader and asking him to really nominate her as a part of that. But that would not have been a mentoring, that would have been helping. Women leaders don't need help. They need some guidance, but they want to make their own decision. None of us want anyone else to make our decision to be done by somebody else. We want to bounce off ideas. They want to bounce off ideas. And those ideas, we can give an opinion, not a decision. I think to me, that is where we need to really try how much is too much is going to be, again, depending on person to person. We need to assess each person, where is the limit. But we need to make sure that women are making the decisions. Women are making the decisions on their own, and at no point of time, the mentoring should make them feel that my decision has been made by somebody else. I think that's where we need to really figure out a way of balancing so that women grow as leaders. Because I can tell one thing, if I have grown today as a leader, it's because of the mistakes I have made, the things that I have learned. And if I had not made mistakes, I wouldn't have been the leader that I am today.
Definitely, Dileep, I kind of agree to this. But when it comes to taking those decisions in terms of whether it's impacting somebody. So, for example, if I am doing my best, I'm trying to learn, I'm trying to do all possible things, but these are very minor and petty things that comes up to us, right? That if I might just go to the leader directly, the person in between can have a negative impact of this. Maybe I'm just crossing the line of not maintaining the hierarchy of reporting, and I'm just outbursting. I'm probably crashing somebody's cabin to just have an approval, right? Now, this is exactly the kind of scenarios that normally our workplaces are filled with. You suggesting the right thing, you very well said, you could have easily spoken to the leader and got her path cleared, but then when she would have done it on her own, when she did it on her own, she would have a different confidence of doing it, maybe probably facing the same situation later with a more smarter way, right? So thank you so much. I think that was a very, very pertinent, reference that you've given us. Thank you so much for that. I will now move to Philip. Philip, we talk of so many startups these days, right? India being a hub of startups, we see so many people, having their own ventures and starting their own business. When it comes to women-centric business, let's just say that, where the women are founders, the co-founders, we look at the funding angle, which is sort of deprived. Now, how can we aid, from women-initiated tech businesses? And any tips that you would like to share with us, wherein these aspiring women who are actually looking forward to become entrepreneurs, or maybe just investors that they can actually consider?
Thank you, Sudhi. In fact, I myself, being an entrepreneur, I'm a successfully failed entrepreneur, actually. So about 11 years back, I launched my AI firm, and obviously, 4.5 years I ran it, and in a bootstrap model. And then I had to literally move to corporate back because the timing was not right. The market was not the right market, which I gone. The business models were not, optimal to scale the business, right? So at that point of time, I found fewer number of women entrepreneurs coming to the market and then driving business. But whoever I've been working with that point of time, some of the women leaders still run their businesses, right? So the message what I want to share is actually, women leaders, women entrepreneurs are more resilient, at least in my experience, to stay and hold on there, right? The second aspect, when it is coming to the funding, when I started my venture, right, 11 years back, so venture capital was a kind of a distant dream, only with fatty Excel sheets and exponential consumer business models and the scalable models only attracted the funding. But today, uh, the equations got changed. Venture capitalists are very clear where they want to put the money, not just go by the exponential, the numbers speak in the Excel sheets. And they also give a lot of preference to women entrepreneurs because they know the resiliency part and the commitment part more when it is coming to male. I don't want to make any discrimination, but I found from my personal experience that's the way, right? The third one, government started supporting, significantly the women entrepreneurs. I'm not sure how many people even know about these things, right? There are about more than 14 different programs and schemes run by central government by itself. There is a Startup India program run by central government, and a lot of yojanas, right, which women entrepreneurs can come. It's not necessary that women entrepreneurs always need to be starting an IT company, right? IT support organizations, IT enablement organization, any type of these organizations can. And not only that, even banks started their own programs specifically focusing on women entrepreneurs. The thing is that today the avenues are much more wide and number of doors are many compared to 10 years back, right, for women entrepreneurs. Now the question is actually, how do we really create that awareness? And today there are many organizations. Obviously, one of the programs that you run, TechGig, is a very excellent program to create that awareness and bringing the women entrepreneur aspirant leaders to one platform, right? NASCOM runs a lot of programs like that. Many industry bodies run a lot of programs to bring women entrepreneurs to the next level, give them the mentorship, support, guidance, access to the investors. Specific conferences are being made where women entrepreneurs are introduced to potential investors and venture capitalists to get their support from the ecosystem, right? So personally speaking, I think this is a very good time for women entrepreneurs to come forward, take this as a challenge, and then do something for the nation building exercise, right? So yeah.
Thanks, Philip. I think you've very well identified the kind of avenues that we have. It's just that psychologically we need to be there. We need to really understand that if there are opportunities, we need to leverage and we need to really utilize them to have a successful career. Because I think organizations, government, all of us are doing their bit. All of them are doing their bit to create such avenues. It's just that when we utilize these opportunities, probably we'll have more successful careers and more successful growth chart that we would want to see. So, Sahitya, I would now like to move to you to a very important part of our discussion, which is, the coding part, as I see. Now, in a study of GitHub users, they found that code written by women was accepted 78.6% of the time, which was 4 times more than those written by men. Now, when we just keep the gender biases, at a side, this goes to show that women are better coders, but are not perceived as that. How would you like to encourage more women and girls to opt for programming as a career?
Okay, so firstly, I think it's great to hear being a woman, and those are the statistics. But I think we need to all take this with a pinch of salt, because in statistics, the main thing is really about what sample are you talking about and who's a part of that sample, right? So I don't want to get into any controversy of agreeing or disagreeing with your statements, but I feel that when we're talking about the gender balance that we need really in the tech space, or in this case coding, we need to keep that aside and really look at who's good at coding. Now when we talk about coding, it isn't really about mathematics so much, it's more logic, right? People who have great logic end up being great coders. So both men and women alike sometimes demonstrate that capability, and their codes work extremely well for businesses. And there's one thing that I recently found out, that apparently in the 1950s and 60s, that's after World War II, all of the computer programs programming and coding was done by women, you know. And this came as a shock because we're talking about the 50s and 60s, and this was through a documentary on BBC. There's some tech historian, somebody called Marie Hicks, I guess. Yeah, that's the name. So
Yes.
her finding was like, why is it that now? So apparently there was something that, was consciously changed thereafter, where they wanted to have more men in management roles. And that's the reason why we eventually saw that women really started kind of reducing, or their role in this area began to kind of reduce. But earlier, programming was done with pen and paper, and it was the most comfortable job for women because they could sit at home, they could program, they could code, and send their codes over, right? So I think it's just something that we as people have sort of built in our minds that women are not good coders, not good programmers. So we need to start changing that. And I'm glad that we're having these discussions and we have great support from the male fraternity as well, right? We have the Lipsa here, we have Philip here. So we know that we have that support. We are in the right time, but we need to start well. We need to start perhaps by talking about such success stories. The fact that women were able to code way back in the 1960s or earlier is a great story for women to know, right? So reach out to schools, reach out to colleges for women and talk about these successes and show them what a career in tech could really look like for them. And that should really invite a lot of applicants in that space or in that subject. Currently, even within GenPact, what we see is we do try our best to have that balance or diversity, so to say. We have 42% women. We'd like to take it to 50% because that's how it is, right? 50% of the world's population is really women, and we want to make sure that we're represented in every walk of life. Tech being a very important part of that, because now everything is technology. Everything is driven by technology. So we need to make sure that we have more women in this field. How are we really making or trying to make that change? I'd just like to speak a little bit about what we're doing at GenPact is one is, of course, trying to be a part of these kinds of forums, reach out, share success stories, reach out to schools and colleges. That's one way. Then internally, as the Lipsa mentioned, that while we do get a good representation during, the campus hiring or the fresh talent that we bring into the organization, over the years, we tend to lose them as we reach the mid-management or senior leadership. We tend to lose them. So for that, we do have programs like women's leadership program. There's one very nice one called Pay It Forward. It's a mentorship program where like I could be a mentor to somebody, or I could probably train somebody as well. Or somebody could probably be my mentor. And I think having a very structured formal program as such takes away what Dileep sir was mentioning about, or probably I think you mentioned, Sukriti, about this problem about hierarchy and not following that hierarchy. So a structured program of mentorship allows anybody to just connect with the mentor and take their career forward. So there is no hierarchy in this. It's just the mentor-mentee relationship that's sort of taken into consideration.
Thanks, Aditya. I
So yeah,
think
that's what I
yes,
wanted to
yes.
share. Yeah.
Lovely. So, it is all coming into those bits wherein we all, even individually, can do things for each other. And as we stand by, as Dileep mentioned, his role was very, very important when the women went to him to ask about the decision, that the guide that she was kind of looking at. Now, this bit that we're doing, from our standpoints, we as TechGig, we sort of do such events to have leaders like you speak with us, conversate, bring in insights that are going to be very helpful for all these people out there who are pursuing their careers in tech and are looking forward to becoming leaders and icons like you. So thank you so much for being a part of this huge coding event that I have for women especially. I'm so glad, so delighted to have each one of you shared your experience and your knowledge with all of us here at the grand finale of TechGig Geek Goddess 2023.
Great.
Thank you so
Great
much for
topic.
having us.
Yeah.
Thank you. So before we actually, go ahead and wrap this up, I would like you to please wish all our participants or our finalists a good luck as they are here to, claim the championship of TechGig Geek Goddess. So let's give a thumbs up and a smile to all of them, and they will have this, good luck sent out from all of you. Thank you so much.
What a wonderful discussion indeed. The insights, stories, and experiences are worth learning, aren't they? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for taking time to share your narratives with us today. Around the world, women are building businesses, driving significant breakthroughs, setting new trends, and propelling change. It is undoubtedly true that women inventors deserve to be celebrated for the many important inventions they have made. Analysis of the inventors named on patent applications around the world shows that a disproportionately low number of women are named as inventors. So how can we as organizations improve the representation of women in patenting? To answer this question, I have with me Ms. Vedika Sapani, Managing Director, Goldman Sachs, Bengaluru.
Thank you, Sukriti. Hi guys, I'm Vedika. I'm the global head for credit cards platform for Goldman Sachs. Thank you all for listening in today. It's a very interesting topic. I've not spoken on this before this, but thank you for listening in. So first of all, I want to clarify what intellectual property rights are. Intellectual property rights can include entrepreneurial ideas, creations, inventions in STEM fields, or artistic and literary works as well. Key forms of IP include protection like patents, trademarks, copyrights, and trade secrets. As an asset, IP can be bought, sold, licensed, or given away. IP laws govern these transactions, ensuring that a creator is compensated for their work. It cannot be infringed upon, and creative work cannot be reproduced without the creator's permission. So IP rights are enshrined in the Article 27 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights of 1948, which states that everyone has the right to the protection of moral and material interests resulting from any scientific, literary, or artistic production of which he is the author. In the 1940s, there was this lady called Hedy Lamarr who made smartphones possible. She's an American inventor, also a famed Hollywood actress, who developed a frequency hopping technology that would, one day spawn and make, wireless communication possible in the form of like Bluetooth, GPS, Wi-Fi. But still, Lamarr never received any credit for her invention for decades. Never in her lifetime did she earn money for a technology she pioneered. And the World Intellectual Property Day is celebrated on April 26th. And this year, in 2023, it was dedicated to women like Lamarr, for the same reason. And the Supreme Court Judge, Justice Hema Kohli, in a public address spoke about, how the challenges women inventors and authors face in entering innovative fields and sustaining themselves is high. And, the barrier to entry is high and to sustain is so high. And to talk a little bit about the challenges and, based on facts in this space, the World Intellectual Property Organization, or WIPO, noted that, while there is growth, it is slow and inequalities persist. And we can only bridge the gender gap in IP by 2061, like that's like 38 years from now. And it is not even going to happen with the same pace across regions. So for example, in Northern American region, we are expected to bridge the gap in 32 years or by 2055. In Asia, closely by like 2056. But On the flip side, on the other extreme, it will take much longer for areas such as Europe and Oceania, where we will bridge the gap by potentially in 65 years or 2088. And I think the second challenge that I see is women inventors are often concentrated in specific fields such as biotechnology, food industry, and chemistry and pharmaceuticals, while fields like mechanical engineering have way fewer women participating inventors. Uh, and women inventors are more common in academia than in the private sector. A 2019 report summarized that although women account for roughly half of the global workforce and more than half of the college graduates worldwide are women, there are far fewer patents filed by women than men. And for example, take the example of Catherine Green, who, along with her associate and colleague Eli Whitney, invented the cotton engine, a revolutionary technology in the cotton production industry. But despite the collaboration, the patent was, given or granted to only Whitney in 1794, and not Catherine Green. And there was another study in 2021 published by the Proceedings of National Academy of Sciences (PNAS) that found that even in children as early as 6 years, they start to develop this sense, this perception that women and girls don't belong in fields for STEM courses, and they're fitter for boys rather than girls, which kind of affects their sense of belonging in the fields. The fewer girls enter these fields, and those who don't receive as much support or adequate opportunities, which further hampers their confidence, brings in wage disparity, and incentivizes careers, leading to a scenario where it is a male dominated field as early as 6 years. In non-STEM fields, on the other hand, such as writing or craft creation, scholars have argued that the legal nature of IP protection was never designed to assign value to women writers and creators' works. Handicrafts such as knitting, embroidery, for instance, were not considered to be marketable because they were either produced within the domestic sphere, or they did not meet the originality requirement because they were more functional pursuits rather than artistic ones. And even when women do participate in STEM fields, they face numerous challenges to become a patent inventor, because they have household burdens, caregiver responsibilities, which travels and which hinders their ability to travel to conferences, cultural constraints, etc. As a result, their participation in research declines, and each step of the ladder, the number of women participating becomes lower and lower. This was termed by a UNESCO report, called Towards 2015, a report that came out in 2015, called Towards 2030, which termed the high attrition rate of women in STEM and research as the leaky pipeline. Which and if I can share some stats, at graduate levels, we are very consistently like 53% women, and it starts to drop at the PhD level, where it's only 43% women, and at the research level, at the next level, the number of female researchers is only 28%. So as you can see that as you grow up more in your career, that starts to the leaky pipeline starts to manifest itself. Now, why do we need to focus on this topic, right? I have been a sponsor and a lead, a contributor in the women's initiative space throughout my career. But when I was asked to speak on this topic, the first reflection I had was, in the D&I space, we tend to focus a lot on aspects of improving the incoming, the pipeline, retention at later stages of the career. But we rarely speak about how can we enhance patent application ecosystem for women and the benefits, from it. Having said that, our approach in Goldman has, in D&I effort space has been to integrate into the employee's life cycle and have a holistic ecosystem which empowers women and supports them to be able to reach their maximum potential. And that's what we've been following throughout the programs we do. I think to just add on a little bit of why and stats around why we need to focus on this. There are many metrics that indicate that in countries where women have better laws, tend to have improved access to land, equal inheritance rights. A US-based study estimates that closing the patenting gender gap could increase the GDP by 2.7%. And the most tangible metric for IP gender gap, measuring women's patenting activity, how they file patent applications under the Patent Cooperation Treaty, is a good metric. So, for example, in India, the share of female inventors who will patent applications between 2019 and 2021 was just to 10.2%. And as of 2023, the women globally account for 16.2% of all global inventors, where men make up the remaining 83.8%. Now, what can we do to bridge some of these gaps? There are some external factors, like we kind of alluded to. In the latest intellectual property index, International Intellectual Property Index, published by the US Chamber of Commerce, India's rank fell from 20 in 2014 to 42 in 2023. And the report evaluates the protection of IP rights for 55 countries, factoring in copyright laws, patent laws, the ability to monetize the assets, and international agreements. In 2016, what India did was, the National Intellectual Property Rights Policy was, released, which proposed ways to reduce the waiting time for patent trademark applications and increase the administrative capacities in IP offices. And records show that women filed, 7698 patents in India in 2022. And a large part of that has to do with all the policies and incentivizing that the government policies help the women bridge that gap. Now, I think on the flip side, what can we do ourselves? Taking initiatives is a big element of that. Women themselves can play a huge role in narrowing the gap. And I think key things are having faith in your abilities, staying focused on your career aspirations, and most importantly, taking action. Empowerment comes from within. Nobody can give you power if you are not actively involved in the process yourself. You don't actively want to get to the next level. And some things that I would share that can help. First of all, find yourself a mentor who can guide and inspire your innovation journey. Seek out mentoring programs, build a network. Second thing I would say is empower yourself through education. The WIPO Academy offers free courses. Avail them, including distance programs as well. Go on their website, online courses on IP topics relevant to sciences that tell you how to what does it mean to protect these rights, how do you value them, how do you commercialize them, etc. Third is find out more about the services offered by your national IP office. In many countries, IP offices provide services to support and encourage women in innovation and entrepreneurship. These services include guidance on how to submit applications and to protect your IP assets. There are training programs to help you navigate the legal systems, as well as how do you access funding opportunities, which can really be very helpful. I would also say explore the WIPO's enterprising ideas webpage for free tools like navigating intellectual property for startups and IP diagnostic tool, which helps new startups and businesses of all sizes to strengthen their IP and to make it more successful. To tell you a little bit about what we're doing at Goldman to bridge the participation gap of women in STEM fields, we really believe in cultivating a work experience in which everybody can reach their full potential and thrive as their authentic selves. And we really need to take a person by person customized approach to talent management and development, rather than generic programs that may not have as much impact. So to give you some examples, we partner with this non-profit called Catalyst, where we fund hundreds of women throughout their college education to pursue engineering courses. There's then an initiative called 10,000 Women Initiative, which is an effort to foster economic growth by providing funding, business education to underserved women entrepreneurs. In India, we had about 2,300 women entrepreneurs funded through this program. I think more in the talent acquisition space, what we've done is, there's this program called the Women Possibility Summit that we run on some key leading engineering colleges as well as B schools, which is more like a talk show where we, where senior women from men and women from, Goldman will go and talk at these campuses, which is an initiative, which is aimed at inspiring and encouraging more women to take on jobs and careers and explore careers in finance and in engineering, and to help them understand what can happen, what are the kind of work that they can do. The second program that we run is Returnship, which is a 12-week paid program that enables returnees, or the people who've taken, for example, a career break for whatever reason, to come back and integrate into the workforce through an internship journey of 12 weeks. And then, if they do well, they could continue on full term, as on a long-term basis. Some things that we do in the, in the retention and development space, again, like, you need to focus on the pipeline in every aspect, not just at, entry level, right? So we have a whole bunch of leadership engagement, ally strategies that we work on through, like a bunch of accountability framework driven initiatives where the allies are kind of taught and familiarized and educated with challenges faced by different communities, not just women, but like several other underrepresented communities, and how an ally can help make and bridge the gaps, making the whole ecosystem more inclusive. I think more on the benefit side, there are a whole bunch of family-friendly benefits programs that the firm offers to support our diversity efforts and to highlight a commitment to creating an inclusive culture and diverse workforce. There is a 4-week of paid family care globally per year. This is basically if anybody wants to or has an emergency and needs to take care of have caregiver responsibilities and avail leaves at the back of that. There is a 26-week parenting leave, which is available to all parents irrespective of gender or caregiver status. There are stipends for employees who, irrespective of gender or sexual orientation, towards adoption, surrogacy, egg retrieval, and egg donation, where wherever permitted by law, of course. There's an expectant parent and the expectant parent program, where this is to enrich parents, give them programs, access to a whole bunch of services to support them throughout their pregnancy journey, parenthood journey, and reintegration into the workforce. And we have a state-of-the-art children's center providing full-time and backup care to our the children of our employees who are between like 4 months to 6 years of age. I think to close, I would leave on a note that would encourage everybody to take control of their own careers and be committed to take action. And I think that's the one thing that can improve and help bridge the gap that we see around us for women in IP and women innovators. And I think last but not the least, all the very best for the results tonight on Geek Goddess. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Sabani. Moving on, ladies and gentlemen, presenting another panel discussion with stupendous industry stalwarts to talk about technology and gender equality, digital innovation for one and all, Can we please have them on the screen? All right. So, folks, I'm here in the studio with our eminent guests. And before anything else, let's just welcome our guests for this discussion. Please join me in welcoming Archana Raman Kumaru, Senior Vice President from Cognizant, Joyita Ghosh, Vice President, Goldman Sachs, Hyderabad, Kirti Kama, Senior Vice President, Technology, MasterCard, and K.S. Ganeshan, Founder and Managing Director, Gen Z Technology Services. Welcome to the grand finale of TechGig Geek Goddess 2023. I am so happy to have each one of you here with me. And I have my questions ready. I have the excitement, the tempo set for the entire finale. And before, of course, we go ahead and jump into the main conversation and discuss the bit that we are here for. Let's have a quick round of introduction from each one of you leaders. And for this, of course, as a custom made, I would request each one of you to introduce yourself and tell us, if not a tech leader today, what role or profession you would have been into, or you see as an alternative for yourself. Archana, let's begin with you.
I had always wanted to be a doctor, okay? And actually, I didn't get my medical seat, and that's how I landed in an engineering degree. But I'm so happy I'm here, right? That's something. So my dream was to become a doctor, and I turned out to be an engineer.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Joyita.
Thanks, Sukriti, and thank you for the introduction. And it's great to be here today. If not what I'm doing today, I would have loved to be an astronaut. I'm sure if you ask most young children, they would have said the same thing. But that has been my dream forever. It's similar to what Archana said, that I don't think I could crack the best seat possible. And so, yeah, I that's why I'm not an astronaut today, but I wish I could have. And then when I see, India taking so many leaps and bounds with, Chandrayaan missions, and it makes me feel so proud and a little bit sad that I'm not part of it directly, but yeah, hope to make a change in some other manner.
Thank you, Joyita. Kirti.
So you'll be surprised to hear this, but while growing up, I had always thought about computers because they were not really something that were available in India, truly. So I wanted to do something in computers, but if I had not been in the tech field, I believe I would have ended up being a teacher because I really love teaching.
Wonderful. Casey, what about you?
Thank you for having me here. Very, very interesting questions. Typical of any 90s kid. I wish I was a cricket sport journalist. Hopingly, I would have covered the November 19th win of India, and we all wish that happened. But in 90s, you see, it was not a rewarding career. So you are forced to do something around engineering or something else, which is much more to your parents' liking than to your liking. So I wish I was to answer your question, I wish I was a cricketing sports journalist going around India and of course across the world, covering all the actions in cricket. That's always been this thing. I compensate for it by watching cricket though, and so that's been the wish, which is not yet fulfilled, compensated elsewhere today as well. Thank you.
Thank you, KSG. So, actually, you made out that point. I asked this question because back then, when we were pursuing our career, when we looked at something in terms of our education, there were very less options available, and amongst them, something that we wanted to become, and we're not there yet. Of course, we have a little bit of regret, and we may be sad about it, but I think. We're here for a purpose, and we kind of delve into that purpose in some way or the other. Today, as all of you are here, I'm sure you're here for sharing your inspirational journey, your experiences with our, techies and aspirants at Women Coders, for whom we actually are doing this entire show, right? So this will definitely help some people. I'm sure that, your learnings, your insights, whatever you're going to share in today's conversation will definitely be a guiding light for people who are actually
who look upon you, you leaders to navigate their career and do something good in their lives. Now, that being said, thank you so much for those interesting answers. I will now quickly move to the main discussion. So, digital technology has become very critical to our lives, and the online experiences and opportunities are also important for everybody, be it children, young people, just development across wide range of areas that we are trying to look at today. However, there is a gender divide that exists. Girls are disadvantaged when it comes to digital adoption and have lower levels of access to and use of digital technology than boys, and often they're not being benefited from the digital technology in the same way as the male gender. Now, under the theme DigiAll, which is also an innovation and technology for gender equality, the United Nations observes of International Women's Day 2023 this year, highlights that the need for inclusive and transformative technology and digital education is important for everybody. Now, with regards to this inclusiveness that is being emphasized by huge entities, by icons, by people who we look up to, right? It's important for us to address this entire topic, and we need to probably have strategies in place. We need to probably have a better understanding of executing things in a manner wherein the race that we are into of creating that diverse, inclusive, and equal environment and ambience for everybody. I think that is the most important awareness is that we are trying to look at. To start with, how can we ensure that the future of technology must not be a future of inequality? Archana, any contemporary reference that you would like to quote for us, and anything that you think will not lead us there?
Yeah. So if you look at the current tech industry, I think overall, from a statistic standpoint, less than 27% is what women hold here, right? So that is a very clear. Actually, in some cases, it's even lower. So this is a clear indication of the spread of diversity, okay, and the need for it. But however, if you look at the many successful organizations across the world in the recent past, it's been time and again coming up for conversation that wherever there is an inclusive, even an inclusive board or an inclusive leadership team, those organizations have succeeded far more than the rest. Okay, so it's no more a theory, and it's been a repeated fact which has been coming out. So the good part is there is awareness amongst the industry that women, having a diverse ecosystem is going to be critical in the tech space, and this leads to better innovation and better problem solving for the business. Okay, teams that are too homogeneous have a challenge in tapping into the empathy for customers and being able to reach a wider market. Therefore, businesses have a responsibility to build a culture of diversity and inclusion where everyone has an equal opportunity to thrive. So this is what I think everyone is realizing, and I think we are moving to that. Now, coming to what are we doing as individuals, as organizations to get there, I think one is from an organization standpoint, we are consciously every leader, right? So all of us have to play a role to it. So there's a conscious inclusivity initiative, diversity targets. We as an organization, Cognizant goes and supports STEM education in the rural areas. Okay, we have introduced returnship programs for women who have probably stepped out for some personal reasons, to say that we are willing to take you back. We are even investing in training on those women before we deploy them into the teams. And then through our foundation also, we are going to the rural areas and educating many women children, girl children across the rural areas and the rest of India, I would say. So, and as an individual, I like to be a role model for many women who want to get into the leadership roles, because what I've heard from people is there are not too many people to look up to, right? Some of us are here because we've also gotten the support from our seniors to help us be there, see them, look at them, and kind of be there. But so I have a vested interest in playing that role, and I make sure that anybody who approaches me, there are people who have come to me and said, I'm being depressed. I don't know how to handle these situations. So play the role of a mentor, coach, nothing to do with the direct line of business that you operate with. And a lot of people I see are now willing to come in and chat up as well. So personally, I'm very happy to support in that part.
Thank you, Archana. I think, in terms of awareness, yes, we are. And with every year, the innovation taking, going a notch higher, I should say, there are a lot of opportunities that are coming into the market. It's just that we need to really go deep to have an understanding of the situation and create opportunities for everybody to leverage them. Now, I will quickly move to the next one here. When we talk of diversity, right? How is diversity very critical for ensuring that technology meets everyone's need? And it has been aiding all of us with everything. Bringing women and girls to the center of technology requires collective action. How can we do this? Joyta, if you could just quickly give us a brief that how this entire thing is happening, or what are the things that we can look at?
So thank you, Sukriti. And before going into it, I feel that diversity is multidimensional. We can see through different lens covering gender, race, ethnicity, your religion, ability, sexual orientation, neurodiversity. And a diverse workforce is going to bring a multitude of perspectives, ideas, and problem solving approaches to the table. And like today, I know we are focusing a lot more on gender diversity and inclusion. And I always love to quote this about inclusion, that diversity is being invited to the party and inclusion is actually being asked to dance. So that sort of, in my mind, sort of sums up the diversity and inclusion piece of it. But coming to technology, I feel that whenever tech is sort of developed and designed by a homogenized group, it's more likely to perpetuate biases and limitations that may unintentionally exclude or disadvantage a certain segment of a society. So it's very critical that we incorporate a variety of perspectives, experiences, and talents to sort of create technology that caters to the needs of a diverse global population. Coming to women in tech, I know Sukriti and Archana mentioned an interesting statistics, but I want to add a couple of more here. As per World Economic Forum, globally only 22% of AI professionals are women, and 15%, only 15% of Fortune 500 CEOs are women. And there are studies by McKinsey which have shown that companies in the top quartile for gender diversity on executive teams, they are 21% more likely to outperform on profitability and 27% more likely to demonstrate superior value creation. So diversity is not only about numbers, but it is actually impacting the company's bottom line. So it's directly related to profitability. And when you talk about businesses and products, women are like significant consumers of technology, and having their representation in tech companies, it ensures that all the needs are sort of met. And the amalgamation of different thoughts, it sort of sparks creativity, innovation, problem solving, and thus fostering the development of tech that sort of addresses the broad spectrum of societal challenges. I also think that when there are more women in tech, there is a greater chance of identifying and rectifying any gender biases that may be ingrained in algorithm, products, or services, because you have a different perspective over here. Like at Goldman Sachs specifically, we say that diversity, equity, and inclusion, that's basically at the heart of our people strategy and is totally embedded in the culture of our firm. We have multiple programs here which sort of help our women colleagues, navigate here. Um, we run the 10,000 Women Initiative Program, which is an effort to foster economic growth by providing underserved women entrepreneurs around the world with business education and access to capital. The firm's investment in women is driven by a growing body of research by Goldman Sachs, World Bank, and other institutions that demonstrate that women's empowerment is actually smart economics. Even at India, I think we are providing over 2,300 women entrepreneurs with fully funded business education to advance their growth. And that number is constantly continuing to grow as we double down our efforts this year. Now, bringing women and girls to the center of tech, I think that was the second part of your question, Sukriti. That I think that's extremely important because, I mean, again, I'll quote a report by UNESCO which says that only 30% of researchers worldwide are women. And it's important and it's very critical right now that we bring more and more women into the world of technology. And but then there is progress. In India, for example, we have the Gati and Kiran programs, which are designed to empower women in STEM technology. At Goldman Sachs, we have different programs, once again, to support women and support their career within the organization. Be it as a new hire, be it as a woman who's returning back to the workforce, or supporting women colleagues, or mentoring and giving them opportunities. We give 26 weeks of parenting leave for all new parents, irrespective of gender or caregiver status, and we are and whether through birth, surrogacy, adoption. So we are catering to the needs of all our employees here when it comes to the benefits, to the organization.
So, when we say that there has to be accessibility for all, we have made custom packages, custom programs, strategies, and all sorts of plans are there to involve everybody. Now, the reason to identify why women or why a certain class is being deprived of it is of no use, right? We'll keep on finding the reasons and we'll still not be able to figure it out. The only responsibility at this point in time that we can take is, of course, to offer help, to offer customized programs that can actually fix those problems. Because even if we find the problem, unless and until there's a solution that we are providing as leaders, as industry organizations who people normally look up to. Now, CSR being a major part of it, almost every organization these days are planning something or the other which revolves around women, which revolves around young children, and have programs that are custom made for their development, right? And I think that is exactly that kind of direction that we are trying to look at when we say that the digital technology, should be accessible to one and all. Moving on to the next one, I'll go to Kirti now. Kirti, how can we curate such opportunities that Joyce just shared about, and that I was also kind of mentioning? How can we actually create that opportunity and impact in the tech ecosystem? What kind of opportunities, in case if you're trying to, how can they be, and what kind of opportunities can we look at?
So I think the technological sector has been progressing at an exponential rate. I think organizations across the world are looking for talented people. They're looking for some folks with skills, in some of the cutting edge technologies, really. to keep pace with the market dynamics, the technology transformations that we're going through. I'll quote a recent report that I read from AIM Research, which is Analytics India magazine. I read that, in India, we have a total of 4.6 million employees in tech, and of which only 1.3 million are really women. So while I see and I understand, businesses across sectors really trying to enhance the women representation in tech roles to really strengthen and expand the ecosystem and increase the participation of women in tech, these organizations must focus on addressing opportunities across the entire value chain. And that starts with inspiring our young girls about STEM fields, then supporting these women in tech to really have long-term careers. And finally, as Archana mentioned, seeing successful senior leadership roles who can really be role models for these young girls. Because I think it's very important for our girls to see that, yes, you can have it, you can have both sides of the world. I think that's very important for them. And at Mastercard, I can share that we are encouraging, young girls to take up STEM education and STEM careers through one of our flagship programs called Girls for Tech. We've been running it for over last 10 years, I think. And we've reached over 5.7 million girls globally. According to recent research conducted by Euromonitor, Girls for Tech is now the world's largest STEM program designed for young girls. We also have this running in 6 states in India. And we've been able to reach over 1 lakh girls, both in urban and rural areas. So that's huge, but I definitely think there's more that we need to do, because we also do see that, young girls do opt for STEM, do join tech, although the numbers I don't believe are where we want them to be. I think, both Joita and Archana have quoted some statistics. But the key is really to support these women who are opting for STEM careers. How do we really, see them and help them be in this career for a long time? So besides the organizations having very inclusive policies, I think we need to really focus on skill and career development, where our women in tech really get an opportunity to grow and be ready for the future. And that can be done through upskilling, through mentorship, through networking. At Mastercard, we're doing it through, a unique platform that we have called Unlock. It's an AI-powered learning platform where we provide learning experiences. We allow our folks to seek mentors, or even, opt for stretch projects across the organization if that's their interest. We also have employee-driven business resource tool, which is called Women's Leadership Network. And that helps our women network across the organization and externally through various events, activities, really to help our women stay inspired and grow. I'm very happy, to share that we've had several inspiring stories of women who have been empowered to make a successful transition from a non-tech role into a career in technology using Unlock platform, using our Women Leadership Network group, using some learnings from our mentors or even our learning academies. And we need to continue to do this. While I'm saying this, I touched upon this earlier as well, that many of our women in tech do have trouble juggling their personal and professional lives, especially when it's coming to some of our critical life stages such as pregnancy. Women need a more inclusive environment, and they need it at both at home as well as at work. Many women tend to leave the workforce for these reasons, I think. And there's immense opportunity, that we have to encourage these women to join back the workforce. At Mastercard, we have a women's returnship program that we've curated, and it's been there for some time, where we are enabling our mid-career women to really come back and rejoin the workforce. So I think while it's not happening, to create a more equal tech industry, much still remains to be done to boost the access to education, to foster inclusivity, and diversity within enterprises.
Thanks, Kirti. I think we're making the progress, but of course, as you said, the numbers are not being met as the kind of objective that we kind of set when we start a program or when we sort of strategize something. Archana, you have something to add. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So, from my personal observation, I think all organizations are also going through this. I think a lot when people join from the college, right out of college, into an organization, I think the percentage we see is almost 50-50, right, in terms of both male and female graduates who join in, right? So one is joining the STEM, Kirti, to your point around how do we encourage them to join? But I think today we are quite okay in the college STEM education joining ratio at least, and also in terms of how they get onboarded through their campuses or other means. I think the struggle or where we start losing women is mostly a few years down the line, which is where we start losing them, maybe for personal priorities, whether tech is not of interest to them, or also some personal priorities which are not where the environment is not helping them. And I think with today's post-COVID era, a lot of companies in India, all of us are having the liberty to work from home, work remotely, and get a good balance of work life, right? So I would say this is a great opportunity for women to take advantage of these kind of working environment and work culture. And this is a so that if that has been stopping you from so on, which is probably 10-20% of the overall lot, I think we shouldn't have that kind of an attrition moving forward. Okay. So in my mind, 50%, most of the problem, a good portion of it is within us, women ourselves, who have to make it work. And of course, right, in the work environment, it's also about how we remove some of the biases we have, which are very it's I don't think it's very intentional. It's These are natural biases that we have to overcome, and that's where if you have a very gender balanced community sitting on the table, it's easy for us to correct those biases and kind of help more women stay there. So I think our objective now is, I think the college grad, the freshers are not an issue. It's more the mid-level management is where we are all trying to bring that community back, and which is why a lot of us have our own types of returnship programs. And now it's the challenge of trying to make this successful and show the path to them in their careers.
I kind of, echo your thoughts, Archana, onto this because even if we are trying to create opportunities for women or for any, category, let's just say that we are, when we address diversity, inclusion, and equity, unless and until those opportunities are not utilized, unless and until those are not taken up, we'll never meet the numbers. We'll never be able to, source it up for everybody out there, unless and until there's any sort of willingness for the other person to come and just, take the leverage of these programs, these strategies that we are trying to put forth together. Now, we spoke of how things have changed. We spoke of the opportunities. We kind of also shared some stats of how technology is being the center of everything and how we are trying to actually categorically address everything. Kesri, I would now like to move to you, and a very important question from being you on the panel here. What is the role of men in empowering women for leadership roles? Because as the stats suggest, it's only 15% as the CEOs or that we make up to the final list. Now, where do you think the system needs to be changed, and how can we look at encouraging them? Now, these are very important factors that I don't think normally discuss and have a coffee table conversation sort of a thing, right? But using the right forum to convey this message is important. So yeah, I thought you're probably the right person to answer this for me.
Thank you. So first, I'll take a few brownie points. Right, I grew up with three sisters, and I have two daughters. So in an environment for bulk part of my life, I was always surrounded by women. So is the case in Cognizant when I used to run a team and a large diversity within my own team, which is a global team, and so on and so forth. So, as someone who has been born, brought up, living that, maybe I have a point of view, but from a perspective of what men is there. But broadly speaking, this is any equality and a diversity issue, as I think Joyita was saying, has to be viewed with multiple lens, right? So it's but the issue here is this is a big picture problem. We all know the statistics of having women and in the workforce at a leadership level, at a mid management, at the entry level. The numbers are there for C. There are various studies which has been done. So there is a big picture which all men know that it's going to impact their bottom line. It is going to improve their innovation. Just imagine tomorrow's world, somebody is sitting and training an AI model. You put in your gender bias there. What will the machine going to throw out? So there are obvious benefits associated with it, which all men know. But the problem is this big picture issue has to be solved with smaller actions, which are day-to-day in nature, in my opinion, right? And so I always say this 5x5 matrix. So the men should always wear should play the 5 roles which to improve on the diversity quotient within their own team. They should act as an ally, right? So you speak for someone, you become the agent of change within your team or outside your team. So that's an important role men should play. The second is you have to be a sponsor, right? And it's very important to have sponsorship in a large enterprise such as MasterCard or GS or CTS, as the case may be. It is very important to have your seniors supporting you. So, and then men should be the sponsor voluntarily for women in that ecosystem. So that's important element. 2, I would also add saying when they do succession planning, have they thought through as a diversity candidate as a succession planning as well? So that's an important element for people who are in leadership roles and so on and so forth. Third, you become a mentor, right? So it's a cross-functional team. You become advisory in nature. The mentee is women. So you start coaching them and you start figuring out how to get into the next level of growth, what to learn, what not to learn, and so on and so forth. The fourth is you become the advocate and coach of the programs and policies, right? And I always say that if you actually see in the last 7 or 8 years, so much has happened in the policy change, whether you take MasterCard, whether you take IT industry or financial services industry, healthcare, life science, whichever industry you talk, there are lots and lots of policy related stuff which has started coming in. I will ask men to take paternity leave first and not make women obligated, right? Why should only they take? You should take, because they don't feel that I have taken off kind of stuff, right? So you also take and you sit, you figure out. And so it's very important. At the end of the day, it's a joint responsibility. So you become advocate and coach for propagating these policies and keep reiterating it even during the meeting or not during the meeting, which is the fourth hat you wear. And last but not the least, which is you be the role model, as I think Archana was saying. Just like women being the role model for a woman, I would rather ask a men being role model for successfully inculcating the habit of having a diverse set of teams. So it's very, very important to say that you should play these 5 roles. This is on the left-hand side of the equation. On the right-hand side of the equation is where these smaller actions where I said, right? Big picture problem, but smaller action, right? So it's very, very important. Do not do stereotyping of people, right? And I think we always say, hey, no, you can't do. Why can't women do STEM education? Why can't they write the code? And the best of the codes are written by them. In fact, if you actually see the WhatsApp, and it was one of the largest women team which was running in Russia. So so never do stereotyping stuff, right? And so you become, if you are a women in a group of some 15 people, hey, why don't you take notes? Those kind of things you avoid. So this stereotyping business is one you have to do. The second is very, very simple, right? Which is what I call it as man-interrupting during a meeting, right? And these men have, when women speak, the men comes in and interrupts, right? And there is a terminology for that, right? So you man-interrupt, right? So basically you are saying, hey, I know what you know or you don't know kind of stuff. So stop. These are very, very simple actions which you do on a meeting, right? So that's the second one. Third is, and a very, very important part, I think Archana brought that up, is the maternal wall, right? So this is where you have to break that maternal wall, right? Women go through that, and it is very important for men to stand by so that they don't go back. And it's like playing cricket, right? So when somebody is not middling the ball, when you are middling the ball, you take strike, and then you come back, and then he comes and plays back and gets the rhythm back. So it's very, very important to play that role of breaking that maternal wall so that they come back and then start taking the leadership role. The fourth is an important element which men have, is a very, very unique concept, is the likability and liability syndrome, right? So it's in men, if you are successful, you are likable. But in the women's side, if you are successful, the pyramid inverts. Okay, so you challenge that status quo. So it's very important that women will be successful and you start liking them. So why should only men be successful? So it's challenging the likability and success is an important element. Last but not the least, the last one being fair during any appraisal process, rating process. Then it's very, very important for men to say that too, when evaluation criteria is not very clearly defined, we tend to prefer a choice which is the other way around. So the men should avoid these kind of biases which has started coming in, saying that, hey, I know this role, I will start promoting him. The evaluation criteria is different. So these are day-to-day actions. So 5 day-to-day actions which you do: break the maternal wall, do not do man-interrupting in a meeting, do not do stereotyping of people, and then challenge the likability and the liability syndrome, right? So women will be successful and they will be successful, and it will lead into a bigger picture of improving your profitability, innovation, and so on and so forth. Just take an example. In tomorrow's world, if 95% of your customer service interaction is going to be done by the GenAI and ChatGPT bots, you're going to sit and program all your biases within that. So what kind of machine output you're going to have, right? So in fact, around 22% of the women are in the AI world. So I would urge all of them to take more and more of stigmatization, and I urge all the men leaders to start looking in for, some do it very unconsciously, some do it very consciously. So it's very important to realize both and avoid these kind of syndromes which creep in during the course of day-to-day interactions. What's your opinion?
Okay, I think I'm so glad I've asked you this question, KSG. And a lot of things I know will be poured in after people listen to you, of course. But before I kind of conclude this, Joyita, go ahead and quickly share your insight.
Sukriti, you're totally echoing my thoughts. I think this was, you just touched many hearts by what you've said. And then, you've pretty much said it in a very concise manner, and you're totally on target. And I wanted to personally share couple of my small experiences, so that I think it might resonate with everybody who's hearing this today. In my life, I grew up without siblings. I'm an only child of my parents, and but my father has encouraged me so much in my life, and then my husband, and they are actually more ambitious for me than I probably am for myself. In taking up a new opportunity, in learning new things, in switching careers, field, learning about technology, generative AI. So any new emerging technology, I think it's very interesting and important that your women as well as men play a very, very critical role in our lives and how we are shaping up our careers. In my career as well, most of my male manage I pretty much have a balance between male as well as female managers and leaders, and I've been very, very lucky to work with the best of the best in the industry. And they have been so much more supportive of my career. Is just I'm very grateful and thankful, and I hope that everyone gets benefited out of these advantages. And even at Goldman Sachs right now, I wanted to call out a couple of things while we're on this
Joyita,
subject.
I will interrupt you here a little bit. I'm, since we have very few of
I
minutes
agree.
left for this,
Okay,
I
we'll
will
edit
quickly
this out,
move
I
to, yes, definitely. I'll quickly move to Archana now.
Yeah.
Archana, if you can just.
Yeah, just 3 points, right? I love the term mantrupting. Okay, that's something all of us experience. And the second part is for me, for being so successful, I had a male manager, male supervisor, who's given me all the inputs. There were times where I will crash and say, I'm quitting. I can't take this. I need a balance, all of that. And he'll jokingly say, okay, maybe it's why don't you take off the long weekend, come on the Monday, we'll talk. And then there'll be nothing for me to talk on Monday, right? So we go through some emotional times, and then we kind of, but you need somebody who understands their perspective. And that's where, to KSG's point, right? I think probably my observation is our male colleagues or supervisors who have seen a working women environment are able to appreciate this far better. Or no, that's something which has always helped us also. Okay, so that's one thing. So and then the third part is that bias, their subconscious bias, where I've seen my colleagues, after a meeting, they'll all walk out for a chat with a smoke, maybe, right? But that's when they don't even call you together for a coffee or the smoke. So they're like, okay, they assume that they can't call you. Okay, that's why I'm saying, right? Unconscious bias. So I had to break in and say, I can still come and have a coffee with you, right? It's still okay. So I think these are things where both of us have to make some effort, and then you kind of be part of that conversation, which otherwise you think you're being left out. Okay.
Absolutely. Kirti, let's just quickly have the last insight from you. Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to keep it really short and in really one statement, probably. I would request that we should really look at capabilities rather than gender. If we forget about the gender, I think, that bias, if we are able to break, all of us, whether men or women, ourselves, because, even we as women have biases. Oh, how do I talk, like Arshana said, how do I talk to a man? Or in a room full of men, I'm the only lady. I think that will be the best for us, because I've heard women say, I don't want to be hired because I'm a lady. I want to be hired for my capabilities.
Thank you, Kirti. I think we've really had a great conclusion to this conversation. I don't think I can have this delight of course, coming this from the horse's mouth. KST, you've put us in awe of all the factors of the RHS and the LHS factors that you've put it together. Thank you so much. I think
one last word, one liner is cultural and gender dexterity adds to bottom line. Okay? That's as simple as that.
Absolutely. So thank you so much. I am through this conversation, and I had a great time speaking with each one of you, sharing your journey, your stories, and your experiences, of course, for the digital technology adoption that we are actually talking about. Thank you so much. Let's just quickly give our thumbs up and wish our finalists good luck for the finale. Let's just do a quick thumbs up with a big smile.
Thumbs up.
Thank you so
Good
much.
luck.
Good luck.
Thank you, KSC. Thank you, Joyita, and thank you, Kirti. Thank you so much for your presence.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Please stay here for
Bye.
5 minutes. We'll just quickly, finish up the uploading.
Thank you. Now that was an awesome discussion, isn't it? Before we move on to the next most awaited segment of the award felicitation ceremony, presenting you the last narrative of the evening, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and embrace 3 women in tech innovators of the AI world. Please welcome Manisha Bantia, Vice President, Data and Analytics, Pfizer; Surbhi Rathore, CEO and co-founder, Symbol.ai;
I'm Manisha, and I head the data analytics and AI practice at Pfizer. I have been in this space for more than 25 years. But what has happened in the last decade, right, in this space, in the data analytics and AI space, is so exciting. So I have been an enthusiast and a practitioner in this field for 25 years, more than 25 years now. And I feel very fortunate that I took this up as an area when nobody was really talking about this. It was just my interest in data, in analysis, in working, in playing with data, in coding, understanding how to generate insights, that actually took me to this field.
Hey everyone, really nice and exciting to be here. I'm Surbhi. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Symbol.ai. At Symbol.ai, we build purpose-built AI models to help businesses transform their unstructured audio, video, conversation data into structured insights. I have been building the company for the last 5 years. My background is in software engineering. I spent a long time in a company called Amdocs, where I built some of their core products around CRM, customer experience, and eventually touched the conversational AI landscape before starting the company. I live in the Bay Area, and our company is globally distributed. We're headquartered in Seattle.
So my biggest challenge or achievement was, analytics has always been seen as a consulting or a services-led it has always been a business problem that we have, and a specific problem that specific solution for that problem that we build. What I tried to do, I think one of my achievements has been to try to build solutions and products that can be reused, right, and kind of leverage the technology, right, to do that. So my endeavor, Pfizer is a product company. My endeavor since I joined Pfizer has been to build data and analytics solutions and products. So for example, we've constantly prioritized investments in new initiatives. We've taken big bets. We've started doing prototyping on emerging technologies. As a new technology comes in, we've been able to kind of understand it, build prototypes, see how they match to our business use cases, and how we can enhance our use cases using this, innovation. For example, if there is GraphDB or an LLM Gen AI space emerging, and I already have a use case, how can I use it to make it better? And as far as possible, you productize things and create solutions rather than solving, one problem specifically for one client. So sometimes we do that. We do solve, very complex problems sometimes, building a complex model. But over a period of time, we standardize it so the business users can use it on their own. They can tweak it on their own if they need to, and then we kind of make them self-sufficient rather than depending on a analytics consulting organization. Similarly, on the data side, the challenge has been, to manage volumes of data. We work with thousands of financial institutions, and there is this endeavor now, right, to bring all of the data together in one, big data warehouse, let's call it, right, or a data hub is what we call it internally. Now, how do we enable, things on the cloud? How do we enable processing of data, in such a way that we can take real-time decisions. That's something that has been a challenge, and we have been able to achieve it with a very, very strong team, and a lot of investment in in research and prototyping. Because of the number of use cases we've worked on, because of the new technologies that we worked on, I have been awarded multiple things. Like, for example, this year I won the Women in IT Asia Awards. Asia was a big thing. It was going out of India and winning an international award. I have also been honored with the Techinist Award in the Weequity Women in Tech Awards, and the Women in AI Award by the Analytics India magazine. So everything enabled by the team, but I think my experience in the past, etc., has also helped, right, to build on new things, to build new solutions and products.
All right, I'm sure you guys are guessing this already, but my biggest challenges and achievements both lie around building the company that I am building right now. When I wanted to start my business with my co-founder, who actually lives in the US, at that time I was working in India, but really distributed all over the place, traveling with customers, and it was an interesting decision to get uprooted from India and Sydney, where I was supposed to move, and then just come to the US without any network. And I think building a company without a network surrounding you is one of the most challenging things to do. You usually build a company where you have people around you, where you can, get an introduction to a customer or hire people for your organization. But that didn't happen to when we started the company. And so I think that was the most challenging and also the most exciting thing to solve for. And I look at that as, yes, one of our biggest achievements, that as an immigrant co-founder moving from India, Sydney, coming here and starting a business, and then building a network that has now supported our company to grow over the next 5 years and thrive, has been amazing.
The one thing that I would like to tell my younger self, if I go back and look at how things were and looking at how things are now, how I have learned through the years, I think if I could, for example, embrace challenges, I did embrace challenges. I think that was one of the things that that made me grow. But there were many which I did not maybe embrace, right? So I think the one thing that I would tell my younger self is embrace challenges. There always are pathways to growth, and trust in your abilities, and be fearless. I think at some points of time I did have fear about trying something new, about standing on stage, giving a presentation. I think trusting your capabilities, your background, the amount of depth you have in your subject should get that fear out of you. And the limits are just, I think sometimes we feel that we cannot achieve a certain thing. I think the limits are just, figments of our own imagination. It is pretty much, it is borderless. You can go beyond. So don't remove those limits is what I would say to myself. Being proactive, trying new experiences, not shying away from voicing my ideas, not raising my hand, and pursuing my passion, right? Believing in what I want to do. So just be confident and rise to the occasion. And overall, I think it's been a combination, right? Both triumphs and trials forge resilience. So it's both, right? It's wins and losses, that build your confidence and contribute to your development. So it's a mix of both. I've learned a lot from my mistakes and also from my wins. So that's again something that I would remind myself. And overall, it is about staying strong. It is about expressing your views confidently, and take charge of your journey, without apologies. So that's what I would say to my younger self.
I would go all the back to my middle school, 10th, 9th, high school, and tell myself to study, but also to work quickly, understand how businesses operate, understand how transactions happen, understand how you make money. The art of making money is so critical, and specifically in India, and there's a lot of emphasis on education. However, there isn't as much emphasis on what do you do after you study. And that exposure that you get only by applying your knowledge in practical use cases does not come unless you are out there in the field. So while academics are awesome, unless you are trying to be a researcher, getting practical experience is really critical. So if you guys are doing college, 10th, 12th, anything, just try to do internships where you're actually working for people and taking ownership of things and getting work done. It gives you a very different life skills and negotiation skills and the way that you'll communicate and get the job done.
So one learning from my past has been, that you should embrace the power of your uniqueness. There is no one more invested in you, in your potential than you are on yours, and you know your strengths, you know your weaknesses. So I would say go find your mentors, work on your weaknesses, but also be confident, right, about your strengths, your individuality, your diverse perspectives, and the driving forces in a world of perpetual motion, right? So believe in yourself. For me, I grew with a number of mentors at different points of time. Mentors who mentored me in a technical way, mentors who helped me guide in a functional or in a business way, and some mentors who also helped me in a personal way. So think about it. Do work on your progress, right? And that's how I'll close it. Like I'll repeat maybe that no one is more vested in you than you are, right, in yourself. So believe in that. And with that, I'll close and wish you the best for the finale, and have a great evening. Thank you.
A lot of women in tech feel that they have probably, or maybe not feel, they do have responsibilities outside of work. Of course, we're running households, we're running operationally the entire gamut at home, and it sometimes could feel overwhelming to not take aggressive or higher jobs at the workplace, thinking that higher jobs require higher commitments, more hours sometimes. But I don't think that's true. I think that if you are contributing at work and you're doing something amazing and you think you can contribute more, which I'm pretty sure you all can, then take that next leap, take that next job. Hire a promotion or a more complex role does not mean 20 hours a day. It means the same hours that you're working now, but doing different things. So I would, that has been one of the key learnings that I would say I want to pass on, and ask for a promotion, ask for that next role. You only get when you ask. So, okay. So, really excited to be a part of the Geek Goddess, TechGig Geek Goddess here. And all the best to all the participants, not just now, but also in the future. AI is thriving. If you are not in AI at this point of time and working in software engineering, highly recommend everyone to start learning about AI. It's going to be the future. This is like a cloud moment for everyone at this point, and you will build applications with AI, having AI. So, really excited to connect with anyone and have you guys go through that journey.
Thank you, ladies, for sharing your innovative career narrative with us. Now, ladies and gentlemen, with this, we've come to the last segment, the time we all have been curiously waiting for. The segment to honor the much-coveted awards will begin now. After days and hours of hard work and passionate coding, it's time to cheer and celebrate the efforts of our coding divas. It's time to unveil the winner of Coding Challenge of Geek Goddess 2023. We will begin with the declaration of the fourth runner-up. Let's have a look who the winner is.
The tech industry is dominated by men, and that is a stark reflection of what women have to cope with at their workplaces. Gender discrimination, being stereotyped, and being made to feel less competent becomes a part of general work culture for some women. Initiatives like TechGig Geek Goddess aim to identify, support, and empower top female tech talent in the country to give them a platform to jumpstart their careers. Hi, I'm Deeksha Nijhavan. I'm a communication expert with experience in broadcast and digital media. I currently steer creative strategy for branded content across Times Internet for news websites like Times of India, eTimes, Languages, Economic Times, Gadgets Now, etc., through out-of-box brand-aligned ideas. I'm super kicked to announce the fourth runner-up of TechGig Geek Goddess 2023.
Congratulations to the winner. Ladies and gentlemen, we're this close to declaring the champion, the coding diva of TechGig Geek Goddess 2023. I'm sure you all are experiencing the adrenaline rush like I am right now. Taking this excitement a little higher, let's see who the third runner-up is.
Hi, Sukriti. First of all, I would like to express my sincere gratitude for being invited as a presenter in the Geek Goddess 2023 Awards. Well, I'm Shelja, and I have an experience of around 2 decades in the IT industry. All these years, I have successfully navigated the dynamic landscape of IT industry in various technologies, both in services and product development. I embarked on my career as a hardcore software developer. And so far, I have an exciting and fulfilling career that spans a broad spectrum of responsibilities around end-to-end software development and deliveries. Currently, I'm associated with Nucleus. And as you know, Nucleus Software is known for providing comprehensive solutions in transaction banking domain and lending domain. Here, I'm head of product strategy. And my responsibilities are formulating and executing the strategic initiatives in Nucleus. Today, I am truly honored to be part of this event where we are celebrating and we are recognizing the remarkable achievements of the women in technology. The participation of the women in technology is pivotal to the advancement of the society and technology as a whole. So, as we know, in recent years, the technology landscape has evolved exponentially, with innovation driving progress in each and every facet of our lives. But despite the progress that we have made, I see there remains a significant gender gap in it. So it is crucial to recognize the untapped potential of the women. Women participation is definitely invaluable asset because it enriches the field with different perspective and experience, and that would lead to creation of robust and effective solution. Participation in the codeathon and hackathon that are conducted, they give an opportunity to develop the innovative solutions to the real world problems. And when it is conducted for the women, specifically like the Geek Goddess, it is about empowerment of the women to take charge and to be confident in their abilities. Whenever women is given an opportunity to showcase their skills and ideas, they not only contribute to the technology, but they also serve as the role models to the aspiring female candidates. So I implore that the women who have yet to participate in such competitions, that you belong here, and don't let anyone or anything stop you from participation. Your unique perspective and innovative ideas are very much needed and are valued in the industry. So it's time. So my warmest congratulations to all the finalists who have reached the finals. Your exceptional skills and innovative solutions have set you apart. And now it's time to announce the awards for the award for the third runner-up of the Geek Goddess 2023 competition.
Well deserved. Congratulations to the winner. Folks, hold your breath, sit back. We are a few moments away from knowing the second runner-up of this mega coding event. Let's see who the second runner-up is.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Anand Mahurkar, the founder and CEO of Findability Sciences, an enterprise AI company. I'm thrilled to be here at the TechGig Geek Goddess 2023 Awards, an event that symbolizes not just technological excellence, but also the incredible diversity and talent the tech industry has. Today, I want to address all the aspiring women coders and tech enthusiasts out there. Your presence in the hackathons, coding competitions, and tech field at large is not just important, it's essential. The unique perspective and skills you bring to the table are key to driving innovation and progress. I encourage you all to seize this opportunity to challenge yourself and shine in the dynamic field. To all the finalists here today, you represent the best of the best. Your dedication, skill, and passion have brought you this far. No matter what the outcome is tonight, you all are winners. Your journey is an inspiration to many, and I'm excited to say where your talents will take you next. And now, the moment we have been waiting for, it's my honor to announce the second runner-up of the TechGig Geek Goddess 2023. The recipient of this award has demonstrated exceptional skills, creativity, and determination. And the runner-up for tonight is congratulations. Your achievement is a testament of your hard work and a bright future for women in technology. In closing, I want to thank TechGig for organizing this incredible event and for fostering a platform to celebrate and support diversity in technology. Let's all continue to support and uplift the amazing women in our tech industry. Thank you.
Congratulations to the winner. Now, moving an inch closer, ladies and gentlemen, let's see who wins the prestigious first runner-up award.
Hello, hello, hello. Hi, y'all. This is Upasana Taku from MobiKwik. I am super excited to be here today. And what a day it is to see all you divas, coding away. And the first runner-up for the TechGig Geek Goddess 2023 is...
Many congratulations to the winner. We are now at the juncture to reveal the biggest award of the night. And now, to felicitate the champion of Geek Goddess 2023, I would like to invite Mr. Sanjay Goyal, Business Head, TechGig.
Hello everyone. I know everyone was excited to hear their name as the winners. It's a privilege to announce the champion, the best female coder of Geek Goddess 2023, and the winner for the 9th edition of Geek Goddess 2023 is...
Thank you, Mr. Goyal, and congratulations to the winner. With this, we come to the end of this incredible journey. Our sincere thanks to all our esteemed guest speakers, prominent leaders, and all the dignitaries for their gracious presence all along. I also take this opportunity to thank our digital partner Goldman Sachs, Platinum partner Cognizant, and Diamond partner Genpact for their consistent support. Congratulations to the winners and the participants once again. Your support has helped us to continue to expand our mission to provide the community resources and education that women in tech need to thrive. We are super grateful. We hope to see you again at the next year's edition. Catch all the information on our social media pages. Keep sharing your love and support. TechGig will be back with another edition next year. Till then, let your compassion fuel the passion of coding in you. TechGig will make sure that each year you female techies continue to explore and upend the world with your abilities and inventiveness. Thank you for this wonderful evening. Good night, everyone. Stay safe and take care.